China or any of those countries to bring those things to us. So that is the story of Nigeria.
Z10 for high-tech precision engineering. A technology and heavy-duty industry. Original spares for automotive, locomotive, aviation, marine and agriculture. Research and development for automotive engines and electric cars. Heavy-duty off-road equipment. Reverse engineering. Technological development. Academy for innovators and impressionable minds.
With us to improve rural infrastructure, enhance quality education, boost healthcare, and foster economic growth. Together, we can create opportunities for youth empowerment and employment, promote cultural heritage, and ensure food security and strengthen community social services. How you can support? Participate in community engagement forums and collaborate with local government authorities and the Ministry of Community Development. Come, let's build a prosperous Bayelsa together. Courtesy, Honorable Alfred Belamonte Watson, Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Community Development. The impacts of climate change are upon us, necessitating adaptation and resilient building. In Bayelsa State, the recent annual rainy season has brought severe consequences, including excessive flash floods and river flooding, causing untold hardship for residents. However, under the leadership of His Excellency, Senator Doye Duri, the Prosperity Government has taken proactive measures to mitigate these effects. The establishment of the Directorate of Floods and Erosion Control, along with the strengthening of other related agencies such as the Bayelsa State Emergency Management Agency, demonstrates a commitment to reducing the impact of floods. To further enhance resilience, major blocks, canals, river outlets, and drainage systems are being cleared, and higher grounds have been identified in all 8 local government areas to provide safe havens during floods. While the government is dedicated to ensuring the well-being of Bayelsans, residents also have a crucial role to play by cooperating with government agencies, staying alert to flood warnings, maintaining a clean environment, clearing blocked drainages, and reporting challenges to relevant authorities for prompt action. Through collective efforts, they can bolster our resilience and effectively combat the challenges posed by climate change. Stay safe. Courtesy, Office of the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Environment, Honorable A.B. Ben Olulu.
Every ripple starts with a single drop. In Bayelsa, that drop is the Education Development Trust Fund Board (EDTF). From the moment a child sits down to a nutritious meal to the day a scientist steps into a brand new laboratory, EDTF is there, turning challenges into opportunities. 5,000 meals served daily in our model boarding secondary schools. Biological sciences laboratory equipment delivered to Niger Delta University. 1,000 teachers and school leaders trained with the British Council. Special education teachers graduating from Ignatius Ajuru University under EDTF. Scholarship research grants fueling innovation in our state-owned tertiary institutions. TVET, science labs, water facilities, culinary...
Thank you for staying with us on Chat with Naija Live TV, our flagship program where we discuss with important personalities, we discuss issues of importance to society. Today we turn our attention to something that isn't quite spoken of, not really frequently spoken of, turn our attention to people who are not exactly really included in society, people who there's been the agitation for them to be included in society, children with special needs. We discuss the role of parents, we discuss the role of the government, teachers, in helping these children in society. I'm joined this afternoon by someone who is an advocate for special needs inclusion, including children with special needs in society, and every other thing that we have to do. She's a lawyer, a special needs educator, therapist, and advocate for inclusive education. She's committed to supporting children with autism, ADHD, Down syndrome, dyslexia, speech delays, and other developmental needs through therapy, parent coaching, teacher training, and community awareness. That's a lot, but hopefully she's going to break these down and scale them for us. My name is Henry Ahamuefula, and I'm joined this episode of Chat with Naija Live TV by Brenda Nagbere, the founder and chief executive officer of Bremon Educational Consult Limited. It's really good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're really welcome. Let's begin with you talking to us about special needs. There's a lot of things I mentioned: dyslexia, autism. Can you please scale special needs? What it means? I like to think there are not many parents who really understand what that means, or even know to identify if their children, have that.
Okay, so special needs has to do with a different kind of learning, a learning difference. It could be intellectual, could be physical. In the sense that intellectual has to do with the brain, physical has to do with, you see it, maybe the blind, the people that are on the wheelchair, and then we have the neurological one, which is, it has to do with the brain, like I said earlier, children with autism, dyslexia, Down syndrome, okay, and a lot of other disabilities, a lot that people don't know. The ones people know are mainly the physical ones, okay, but we have, they're all termed under the term special needs, right. Yes. So I could break each of them down if you want me to do that.
I think we could allow for that. Autism, okay. What does that entail? How do we identify people who live with autism or children who live with autism? Do we outgrow it? Do people outgrow autism? Or you'd be autistic and that's a lifetime thing?
Autism is a lifelong condition, okay? Of course, in Africa, in this part of the world, we believe miracles happen. Yes, it could happen, but it's a lifelong condition. Whoever has autism has it for life, but can it be managed? Now, what is autism? Autism is a neurological condition that affects the way a person interacts with people, okay? People with autism can have, what's it called now? They don't like new spaces, they don't like interacting with people. Yes, they have short attention span. All right, some of them have delayed speech. Okay, so we usually tend to encourage parents that if you see that your child at the age of 1 year, 3 months, 4 months, 5 to 2 years, you see the child is supposed to be blabbing, you see the child having a short attention span, can't give you eye contact, supposed to say some first words, but they are not saying all those words, right? The child tends to be a bit different from what you expect. We tend to encourage parents to go seek medical help, seek professional who can assess the child, okay? And we also have what we call attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is ADHD, yes.
I feel as though when you mentioned short attention span,
yes,
that ties into
yes,
ADHD.
they kind of want to relate, but they are very different, yes. There are some children that will have autism and have ADHD, yes, together, while some just have ADHD. ADHD has to do with impulsivity and attention. They get easily distracted, okay? You tell your child to sit down, the child is jumping up. The child is in the classroom, the teacher is teaching, and the child is up and about doing. But that does not mean, even autism and ADHD doesn't mean the child is can't reason or the child is not smart. They are usually very, very smart.
Oh, really?
Yes, but it's just for us as teachers and parents to find out the best ways to work with these children.
They are usually very smart.
Yes.
But it seems as though the brain does not process information as
The brain processes
others.
information differently. Yes.
Differently.
They have people with
is it
autism.
much more, I mean, slower than the regular?
Sometimes it could be very fast for some. It could be very
Alrighty.
fast, yes. You can have a child with autism telling you what happened. You ask a question in maths. Maybe the child has not even studied maths. You know, I've not even started school, so to say. You ask a question in maths and this child will just tell you the answers. A child with autism will tell you a date. You just tell the child, what's the 23rd of July, 1901? The child will tell you, oh, if it's a Monday, the child will be able to tell you that it's Monday. You and I can't do that. That's a special gift.
Okay, so children who have certain special gifts can
Yes.
also be said to have autism.
Yes.
Even when they act like regular people,
Yes.
they relate to you, and maybe they also would, they don't mind the interaction with people.
Yes. There are some people with autism that can lead normal life. Yes. You
Yeah.
can't tell.
But then they're just
They are just
faster,
yes. They
smarter.
have yes. They are smarter. They have special interests. You know, there are a lot of celebrities who are on the spectrum. I don't know if I can mention names. You know, like Einstein, for example. You know, even
Albert.
Bill Gates, Albert Einstein. Yes, even Bill Gates. Okay, a few of them like
Bill
that.
Gates is also on the
yes,
spectrum.
they are on the spectrum. You know
What
why
does
we
his
call
own
it a
manifest
spectrum?
as?
You know why we call it a spectrum? Because everybody manifests at different levels. Just like you and I, no two persons are the same. Not even two identical twins are the same. We reason differently. You know, so for Einstein, for example, he did a lot of theories, and you know, even for this Picasso, when it comes to painting and that, a lot of autistic children are like that. They are specially gifted. And the recent one in Nigeria, Tagbo, yes, he's a child with autism. He's non-verbal, which means he's non-talking, right? But he has a special interest in art. He's the one, last year, he won the Guinness Book of Records for the largest painting on canvas in Abuja.
Oh, really?
Just this year, he broke another record riding from, I think, Enugu all the way to Lagos on a bicycle. Once they have special interest, for example, one easy way to recognize them is they like arranging things. They don't like things being untidy.
Orderliness.
So sometimes you might have a colleague in your office, right, that just like things being in a particular way. Oh, these things are color-coded. I want this thing to be here because it's color green. It's supposed to be with the color green. Or you see children lining up toys. Those are all telltale signs. You see kids walking on their toes.
well.
Tippy toes.
Your explanation this afternoon is leading me to believe that there are people who might be living with autism in our society that we might just dismiss as regular people.
Yes.
So, Harry, office space, one who likes to keep things orderly
Yes.
and complains whenever he comes around and says,
Yes.
you all are not keeping this thing away. So that could actually be something autistic.
It could be autism. It could be obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD. Yes. But because in this climb, right, especially in Bayelsa State, when I came here, it was like new to a lot of persons. You know, you could. So many people like that is when you get close to them. Sometimes I walk past some children, some young people on the streets, sick. I know some of them might be due to drugs, but I look at some. You know, there was once I met a girl at Pansha Market Road. You know, because of what I do, I tend to talk to everybody, anybody. The person might be very sick, but I want to know, why is this person sick? By sick, I mean this people we call MAD on the streets.
Already.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I'll see young people like that, and I met that girl on the streets, Pansha Market. I stopped her. I started talking to her. It was like people stood and was looking at me. Just came back from church. I saw the young girl. I said, this girl, it could just be autism, but because the parents can't handle it. A lot of children are on the street like that.
So many persons we call, mad.
Mad,
Not
yes,
exactly
they could
really
be
mad.
True, yes. But because the parents, the family can't handle it, they just feel this child is not acting normal. This child is crazy, so they let the child out. A lot of parents have come to my center. In fact, there was once a lady came and told me she was going to unalive her child because she's embarrassed. So for the people that can't keep, and sometimes autism, you know, this neurological condition can be quite funny that the people that have got it can't control themselves. They could be aggressive. Yes, I've had kids punch me, scratch me. You know, imagine that happening. They throw things at people when they are overwhelmed because the environment does not understand them.
Okay, now, you're one who's really stayed with cases of this nature. You're not exactly a doctor.
Yes, I'm not.
You're in fact a lawyer.
Yes.
But one would want to understand what causes this? If it's something that parents would have to avoid, is it something that parents would know and during the process of birth they avoid it, or it just happens?
Well, for autism, right, there's no known cause. Okay, science is still working. They tend to link it to genetics, and most recently, because of the awareness, a lot of people are now coming out. Right, there's a bit of acceptance coming into play. A lot of the awareness going on is bringing it to limelight. So we tend to see a lot of children with autism. It's not caused by bad parenting. It's not caused by what a mother did while she was pregnant. It's not caused by village people, as they say. A lot of persons come to me and tell me, oh, this thing is spiritual. My child was okay before, and now the child is not talking. I'm sure those signs were there. So once they come to me, the first thing I do is to refer them to the doctor. Let the doctor do their medical test and whatever. Then they refer them back to me for assessment. I assess them and then let the doctors know this is what I found. They merge it to what they have, assessed as well, and then come up with the diagnosis. I don't diagnose. I leave that to the medical professionals. Yes. Yeah. But I can assess. I can tell if a child has autism, dyslexia, ADHD, and what have you.
That's the next term, dyslexia. That's
Yes.
like something that means one not being able to read or properly.
Yes.
Go for us now.
Yes.
And how does that manifest?
Dyslexia is a condition that that enables a child, or should I use the word enable now? Someone with dyslexia would find it difficult to read, but they can speak. They are very smart, but they find it difficult to put whatever they've said to words. So someone might be very good orator. A child will tell you all the poem, all the stories in the world. But when you tell this child to write it down, the words start getting confused, where a child will write D instead of B or P in place of B, like that, confusing the words. It's the difficulty in reading and writing. There is also dysgraphia, which has to do with the writing part of it, just writing. They find it difficult to write. So I encourage schools, right, inclusion. One reason why I accepted to come here is because I've been trying to do this inclusive awareness thing. I've been going to schools, talking to schools, because I don't want any school to reject any child, because there are policies in place. Right now, back to dyslexia. A child understands, can say everything, but when it comes to writing now, it's not left for the schools to find ways to assess these children. A lot of times parents say, oh, my child failed. And when the child comes to me, I'm looking at this child is very smart. How come this child failed? All the questions I ask the child can respond to them using their words. Now it's left for the schools to have oral exams for these children. Everybody is not the same. I go back to that word.
So you run a foundation, and your foundation is aimed at giving these children a chance at, learning the right way,
Yes.
the way that suits them. But it seems as though, clearly and evidently, this is not something that's government and other well-meaning individuals are really paying attention to. Some of these things you've discussed here are things that, from your explanation, are manifest in our society and evident in our society. How do we bring the government to really be serious with this? And how do we bring educational institutions to really know that if you're setting up an institution, you should not just set up the institution, you should also know to set up a special needs segment or sector to cater for the needs of children who are very likely different. Now, it seems as though if you have 100% of students, for instance, 100 students, maybe 20-30% of them are special needs children. With what you've explained, there are several ways it manifests now.
Yes.
So that means that there is need for every educational institution out there to be making provisions for these
Yes.
children.
I agree. There are policies, right? There are laws, from the federal level to the state level. And the one that really excites me, if there's anything that I've really, really touched my heart about this Governor Doyediri's tenure, is the fact that in March, he created the disability rights law in Bayelsa State, which makes us one of the few
So that
states.
covers the special needs?
Yes, it covers disability, whether intellectual or physical, or do you understand? Now,
So we're discussing here also that these children are rather smart in a certain way. So why would think that they are they are disabled. There are other ways where they are not like the regular. I don't even want to say regular. They're probably regular in their own right.
See, I call all of them, able, right? They are just differently abled.
Differently abled. So
if you
if
you put the signpost for them, if teachers are trained, right? These policies are there, but they are not being enforced to the letter.
You know why I asked that question? Because it's very, very possible that attention is not given to the ones with special needs, and then it's rather given to those persons who don't have complete legs.
Yes, the physically disabled ones.
They are likely to give attention to them.
Yes,
in lieu of also including those with special needs. If that be the case, would we not need much more policies and much more legal frameworks to enable to focus on special needs? You talk about policies and legal framework across Nigeria, but I'm struggling.
When it comes to practice, that's where nothing is being done, and that's why people like us are coming out, trying to make sure our voices are heard. That's why when I was called upon, I said, okay, that's another opportunity for me to come talk to
sensitization,
people, right? Yes. Now, all those policies are in place. Is enforcement. I would be so happy if the government, having made these laws, can follow it through, make sure teachers in public and private schools are trained, because there are some schools I go to.
All teachers, is it that all teachers have to be trained, or we have specific teachers?
I would rather every teacher is aware.
That's easier.
Be trained. Yes, it makes.
So when you identify that, you now know.
Yes, then we should have special teachers in the class that will attend to them, because the general classroom teacher might be overwhelmed.
No, I understand.
But yes.
Special teachers in school who would attend to those.
Every school should have a special education classroom where these children go in there to learn and then bring them back to the regular class, because see, they need to interact with other children. That brings in empathy. The other children are learning from them, they are also learning from them. That helps. Even a child that wasn't talking before, you see them interacting with other children, and before you know, the words keep coming out. So all hands must be on deck, the children, the teachers, all right? Every school, from the security. I trained a school last year, towards the beginning of this session that is about to end, and I was so amazed, because that school made sure every teacher, the security, the janitors, everybody came for that training, and they had to, the school subsidized it, but the teachers had to pay for it. Some of them were not happy, but at the end of the training, they were all very, very excited that, so if a child is in the classroom, maybe a child with autism is overwhelmed, either due to these bright lights, in the classroom, maybe the noise, whatever it is, it could be a smell, and the child is overwhelmed. The child has what we call meltdown, and the child runs out of the class. The security man shouldn't be at his post just watching. If the security man is trained and he recognizes, this child, he knows what to do. Do you understand? So he's not left for just the special need teachers. Everyone in the school knows what to do, whether you're a secretary, provided you're in the school environment. Everybody should be aware.
I think I am particularly, I know about special needs, but with this enlightenment, myself, I actually know better now. It seems as though I have to now be careful with people I meet. When it behave in certain ways, I just know, there's a likelihood that this person, so please calm down. And like you've explained here, when they want to do things, if they're angry, for instance, they could do it to the extreme of it.
It could be the extreme, it could be
to the extreme of it.
Yeah.
Well, when we try to cater for them, do we cater for them in looking for a solution or a cure for their condition, or it's just that we manage them until they now know how to act around people?
There is no cure that I know of for now. We're hoping that there's going to be a cure.
You're particularly concerned with teaching them?
Yes, so now what we do is to put all the necessary things in place so they learn, so they can lead a normal life. Okay. I have some grown-up children at my center that will come at the beginning with diapers, and then we're like, how can this child be this age and still wearing diapers? Because the parents are overwhelmed. They don't know how best to help the child, and then we take up the child to that level where the child is able to feed themselves, the child is able to, do things for themselves. So that's what we advocate.
At what point should the parents, know to observe this? Is it when the child is 5-6 months, when they are like 1 year, that they should now know to observe and look out for signs of autism? So, are all parents, is it normal that all parents start looking out for signs of autism, of their children being special needs, dyslexia. I mean, that's until when they're like 2, I think, or three, when they start reading or something, right? But special needs, to look out for the signs of a child being of special need, what point should the parent start looking out for that?
Well, I wouldn't say parents should look out for it. In this part of the world, if you use those words, it's like you're trying to already play a curse on your child. You know, look out for this sign. Oh, the child is twitching. Are you sure it's not this, it's not that? Right? I would rather say keep it natural. Watch your child. There are milestones that the child is supposed to have achieved at a certain age. Okay. From 1 month, there are milestones. What can a child of 1 month do? 2 months, what can a child of 2 months do? And once you notice that the child is not doing all of that, say at one month or maybe 2 months old, the child is not able to lift their head up. You know, I'm going towards cerebral palsy now, which is also part of special needs. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, the child is supposed to be blabbing. There are some children that as early as 8 months, they can say a few words. They can do 2-word sentences. Water, me, water, drink water. You know, like that. It might not be very, very clear. But once you see your child is getting to at least 4 or 5 months, the child should be saying, Mama, Dada. And your child is not doing any of that. I'm not saying that's autism or whatever, but you should take your child to seek help. Go see the doctor. What's going on? I noticed my child is 1 month is not even following my fingers. You know, these days, newborn babies, I remember my kids, as soon as they are out, one of the things the doctor is looking out for is with the finger. And these ones, they look. It's not like in those days where when we were born, where our parents, the eyes are not open. It's after 6, 7 days that the eyes will be open. Now children will come out of there and open their eyes. And you know you have a baby and your child is not following the light. Not like they can see per se, but they can tell if something, you know, and the child's eyes are not following that. A sound is made and the child is not twitching, you know. You should be concerned. So watch out for all the developmental milestones. If anyone is missing, seek help.
Okay,
you know?
so
it's better you do that. That way you find solutions early, because we usually advocate for early intervention. You know, whatever disease you have, if you find cure for it or you find help for it, you live better. You know.
So in lieu of showing the paranoia, it's much better that you calm down and just observe the developmental signs that a 1 month, 2 months, 3 months old baby ought to have that they do not have. That's really good to know. Let's talk about what I like to think might be the cause, but I'll just have you talk around it. Maybe we missed it earlier. There are many persons who believe, medical experts who believe, professionals who believe that genetic mutation could be responsible for conditions of this nature. Is it possible that for the autism and especially children who are born in certain ways where maybe they don't have, maybe a limb is not complete or something, you know, and they act in certain ways, is it a possibility that mutation could have caused this? I mean, in that case, could we advise parents or women who are pregnant to stay away from certain things? There's a certain time doctors were saying something around staying away from radiation and even scans you do when you
often
get pregnant, when you're pregnant, could actually affect your baby.
I wouldn't say scans we do when we get pregnant, because
Is
the
it
doctors
has
know
some sort
when
of
to do
radiation
it.
or something?
Yes, they tend to. Like I remember when I was pregnant with my first son, I didn't know I was pregnant and I needed to go to law school, you know. So when we went to see the doctor, they need your medical reports to go to law school. So we went to see the doctor to get the report, and the doctor said you need to do a pregnancy test. And I looked at my husband. My husband looked at me like, pregnancy test where? She's not pregnant. He said, well, it's routine because you're going to go do X-ray as part of the requirements. I said, okay. They gave me the thing. I went to do it, and then they came back and the doctor said, oh, you guys are pregnant. Now we looked at ourselves and said, no, we are not pregnant. I'm not sure. He said, madam, this is what it says. I'm going to give you guys 2 weeks. Come back in 2 weeks. We'll do the test again and see what happens. We came back and he still said the same thing. He said, madam, I'm sorry, you can't do X-ray, but we're going to do a report for you telling you why you are not able to do the reports. You know, you're not able to do the X-ray. Yes,
So
There are some certain
that
things.
that doctor knows
Yes.
knows to
yes.
not do it because you were pregnant and it was early.
Yes, it was early, you know.
So you don't do scans very early, is that
No,
the
no, 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 no.
case?
It was X-ray, not
Okay,
scan.
X-ray.
Yes, it was X-ray. You know, when that doctor said we should go do the test for pregnancy, we did it, and we're like, I don't think we're pregnant. He said no. He asked me to lie down, and he checked using his I've forgotten that mobile scanning thing that doctors use. He used that and he said, "Madam, I can't see any baby, but the test says you're pregnant. Okay, so come back in 2 weeks." Went back in 2 weeks, checked, still couldn't see. He now sent me to a bigger diagnostic place where they could check very well. They checked and they still couldn't see. But he said, you know what, you're not going to do X-ray because it says, you know, you're pregnant.
Okay. Let's get back to the motivation that led you into starting the Learning Educational Consults Limited. Have you had an experience? Is this something that touches close to home? What's the motivation? Why do you have this much care for children or people who have special needs?
I would say it came to me by, I don't know, I wouldn't want to say that it came to me by accident, really. I was somewhere, I was in uni, right, and I needed to do part-time job, and where I was, it was easier if you register through an agency to get a job. So I registered. I wanted to be a teaching assistant, and on the form, while they were giving you orientations, they asked you if you want to be a special need teaching assistant or a mainstream, a regular teaching assistant. Back then, I didn't know what special need was. You know, typical Nigerian, typical Niger girl, right? So I'm like, special need, what are they talking about? Maybe, you know, we're always thinking of the physical disabilities. I'm like, is he blind or... I just ticked no, you know. So I told them I didn't want to go to special needs school. I want the regular ones where I can speak to them and, you know. But when I resumed work, the first day, I remember when the agency lady called me, sending me to the school I was supposed to go. And she told me it's a mainstream school. I was going to be in a regular classroom. Guess what? I got there. It was a special needs school. You know, that day, I was seeing kids. To me, this is crazy. What's going on here? You know, I barely went through that day. In fact, they were scratching me. At some point, I'll go to the restroom to cry a bit, come back up. I needed to go through that day. So I finished, came out. Immediately, I called the agency up. I told you I needed to go to special needs school. I mean, mainstream school. Why did you send me to a special needs school? Now I've been scratched and spattered. She said, oh, I'm so sorry. Was that where we... Oh, we're so sorry. Don't worry. Tomorrow is not going to be the same. I said, okay, guess what? Tomorrow was another special needs school. And this time around, it was for teenagers, a college. And this was me, very skinny girl. I got in there. It was worse than the first day. I cried. On my way out, I called my dad. Daddy, these people sent me to a special needs school again. He said, this is unlike them. They don't do things like this. You know, I was quite angry. But I managed to call the agency or gave them a blast. The next day they called me and I said, no, I'm not ready to work. Day after they called, I'm not ready to work. The next day, they begged and begged. That was Monday again. And said, please, Brenda, we are so sorry. We promise you it's going to be what you want. Guess what? It was still a special needs school. But that day, I went to the restroom. I sat down and then I started thinking, what if there's something in here for me? Then I remembered that I used to have a cousin back then. You know, he's late now. As at when I was going through that, he had already passed. You know, I remember that, oh, maybe if anybody knew of this, we could have been able to help this boy. Maybe he wouldn't have died. Because after my grandma passed, the boy went through depression. It was very, very obvious that, you know, from what I've learned now, I could tell that all that time he was going through that was depression. He would go to grandma's room, check her bed, she's not there, he would cry, and then not long after that, he became very ill, and then he passed. So that now made me think, you know, I just told my dad, Daddy, you know what? I think I want to study this thing. I want to know more about this. Are you sure? I now reminded him of my cousin. Then he also started thinking, oh, I think there are a few persons he knows with this as well. You know, so that's just made me, and I knew back here, there were not very many schools. Many people knew, very many people knew about this. So I said, you know what? Let me go through the course and see how I can help.
Okay, let's get to your institution.
Yes.
What are the services you offer there?
Okay, so we do speech therapy. occupational therapy, educational bridging the gap. By that we mean when you bring your child there, your child is not just learning to behave. We do behavioral therapy. So when your child comes there, he's not just learning to behave well, he's not just learning to talk. The child is not missing out on school activities because we do all of that. The child is learning to read, learning to write, and after we've gone through that, once the child gets to a level, I get to school where we transition the child back to regular school.
It's the story you just told me about how you got into this. It's I don't know if I'll call it a motivation to looking between the line. You were initially forced, and now you're making a career out of it.
I was scared.
It's like a proper career path for you,
Yes,
and
yes.
you're really making it good too. Because you're one who is already doing sensitization here today, and it seems as though there are not many of these schools around town.
There are not very many. We have a few schools that do inclusive, that have the special need attached to their private schools.
But
yes.
this is exclusively
This is
special needs.
Yes, this is I don't call it a school, I call it a therapy center because the place is not so big.
When you mention therapy center, people will connect to you.
A lot of persons think that, yes, once I say therapy, they think, oh, maybe it's a psychiatric home or something.
Not that.
No, it's just a therapy center
for special needs
yes, children and adults.
Where are you located?
Special needs. I'm on Bay Bridge Road from Imbiama Yenegua. The place is called Amasoma Close.
Amasoma Close.
Yes.
Bay
Funny
Bridge
enough, the
off
Amasoma
Bay
Close name
Bridge.
of it is not very, very popular. Once you come in from Imbiama Yenegua, you walk in or drive in, you see a 2-story building. Just beside the building is a close in there.
Okay, you leave your name, a number that people could contact you on. Should they have children with special needs or questions that they'd like to ask you? Maybe you could now, you don't do assessments, but you probably will refer them to where they'd get the best assessment.
Okay, so what we do is, right, I do assessment. What I said is not diagnosis.
Diagnosis, right?
Yes,
You
I
could
leave
just,
that for the doctors.
You could just do assessment and tell
Yes.
them you need diagnosis.
Yes.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, there are some parents that come to me after the assessments. A lot of them that have done their homeworks. After I assess them, they know where their child belongs to, and they go, you know what, Brenda, let's just start. We've been to the doctors. The doctor said we should come here, so let's just start. So what was the question again, please?
You'd have to leave a number that they
Okay,
could reach
yes,
out.
my number is 081-6251-9913. Let me take that again. +234 81-6251-9913. You can find me on Facebook, Brenda Nagberi. You can also find us on Facebook, Bremon Educational Consults. You can find us on Instagram at Bremon Educational Consult or Bremon Edu, TikTok Bremon Edu, TikTok Brenda Nagberi. On Instagram as well, you can find me Brenda Nagberi. Send me a message, DM, whatever, and I'll reach out to you.
Absolutely. Now, well, beyond her work in inclusive education, our guest, Barrister Brenda, is also a strong advocate for the preservation of the Izon language, encouraging families to embrace and promote their mother tongue as an important part of Bayelsa's cultural heritage. That is something that is fast diminishing, if that's the right way to put it. But then it's something that there are a lot of parents who are rather having their children speak English. They'd rather for them to sound
Posh, very British.
very
Naive.
British, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In lieu of really having them speak their mother tongue. And I said something very recently. I posted something on the socials that if you cannot speak your mother tongue, you're contributing to its extinction.
Yes.
I'd like you to talk to us about your passion for having people speak the Izon language. Clearly, I can speak Ijaw, but then we've been speaking English all through. Maybe that's because I can't. If perhaps I could speak Ijaw, we did it in Ijaw language. But let's talk about your passion, why you think it's absolutely necessary that we revert back, and how you think we can even achieve it to have parents make their children. There are people who are already grown, they are adults, yet they don't see the need, the zeal to want to speak the Izon language. Is it a function of colonial mentality, would you say?
It's part of it.
It's part of it.
Because sometimes, I remember when I came down here newly to Bayelsa State, I got married and my husband brought me down, and one of the first things or the first social groups you go to is church, you know. And when I got there, a lot of persons didn't think, because then I had a very strong accent, but underneath the accent was very, very strong Ijo girl.
Sorry,
you know.
a very strong Ijo accent.
No, very strong British
accent,
yes.
right.
You know, so a lot of persons thought this girl doesn't know jack about Ijo. You know, so
Right.
when I opened my mouth to speak Ijo, and they were like, "What a juice! Did that just come out of you?"
No, I'm quite. I don't know if I should say confused, but I don't know how you are able to do that switching.
That's my parents, my dad and mom.
One can't even tell you speak Ijo. Do you speak Ijo like very fluently?
Should I start speaking? Ene bizon to ado ina remo ya kumpna fa Brenda na gberi ke na remo ne sama yorotbo e sama well ene yima barrier so abar wim do paim.
All right, I didn't get any of this.
Yeah, you're not gonna get it. You need to go learn it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been here for a while, so I think people should learn it just truly. But yeah, people who they're rather reluctant to learning
and that's
the language.
painful. It's really painful. Yes, because see, your language is your identity. That's where you're from. You can't say you're Ijo or Yoruba or Igbo and you know nothing about it. You should be ashamed. You should cover your face. You know, now it's even easy because you can learn a word or two using the internet. So it makes things easy. I've seen people, I've come across friends, when I speak Ijo, they go, Brenda, you have come again. See, I don't care. I speak Ijo. When I'm going to pick my kids in school, I'm speaking Ijo to my kids.
But this is the thing now. Children would often struggle with learning two languages while they're
Children
growing
don't
up.
struggle. No, that's a myth. Children can learn 6, 7 languages if you give it to them. It's adults that find it difficult to learn. For children, their brains are like sponges. So it's easier when the child is little.
And what you're saying now is fact.
Yes, facts. You can go do a research and it's
fact check it.
easier. Yes, that's why when one of my nannies, she speaks Akwa Ibom. So whenever I go to work, I tell her, because I was trying to reduce screen time for my children. So I tell her, you can speak Akwa Ibom, Calabar to my children. I'd rather you speak your local language than broken English. My broken English is very poor. Now I've started learning it. I'm getting better at it. Yes, it's very. So instead of speaking broken English, I'd rather speak Ijo. Yes, because broken English is benpe, as they say.
It's too broken.
Yes, it's too broken. Broken, chattered.
Well, is it any wonder, given that we have just typically you want to speak English and that's how you communicate, and then we have just too many indigenous languages. Parents would want to struggle. I was going to say, to bring their children to learn English and to bring their children to learn Ijo, and they're also struggling with learning Pidgin. It feels as though they should just make the child to be able to communicate with others out there, especially in school, especially, yet again, for the child not to sound like they are, I'm looking for a word, local. Local, not in the sense of you come from a local place, but then they are local, they are untamed. I don't know if the untamed works there, but yeah. I had mentioned that it feels as though it's a function of colonial mentality. How do we rid ourselves of these if it truly is a function of colonial mentality?
It's to keep encouraging ourselves, really. We can't give up.
If we do encouragement, is it enough to... A parent who is indoctrinated, a parent who thinks that my child should speak like who thinks the Western or English is better.
See, let me tell you my story. I wasn't born and brought up in Joland. Yes, all of us were born and brought up outside.
One would say that much is evident.
But then I grew up in Lagos. My early life was in Lagos. And do you know I don't speak any Yoruba? Oh, God bless my dad, Kenarebo. Once you hear daddy's car outside blaring, you start speaking Ijo in the house. Oh my goodness, we'll start speaking it, whether it's correct or not. Because my dad would come into the house and tell my mom, once these children are inside, I don't want to hear any English in this house. That's what he would tell my mom. And so my mom would start speaking Ijo to us and we'll speak and speak. And if he sees our Ijo is getting really, really bad, he sends us to our grandma in Warri or to our grandparents, my mom's parents in Ikorodu, where all they speak. In fact, my grandma, my dad's mom, speak no atom of English. So you have no choice than to speak the Ijo. Sometimes you will have to call my parents. Look, your child is saying, say, now over the phone. You know, the child wants something, but because she does not understand, she will call my mom. My mom will now tell her what the child wants in Ijo, then she will speak Ijo. This is how you say it. So when we go for competitions, when we were little, in Lagos back then, we're always stopping it. It got to a point the people felt like, why is it that it's always these Ken's children that are winning the awards? Because it was very serious for us. Daddy will come on weekends. Daddy's telling us stories in Ijo, Adotimi Igbilibo. Yes. You talk about the tortoise, the wuri, and the rest. Pardon?
Your competitions, right?
Yes. In those days, I don't know if there's any here. Maybe we can start by that to encourage the children to speak. Now, they might not sound as Ijo as we want, because even now, when I get to the village and I speak my Ijo that everybody loves, the people there tend to see it as, you know, refined Ijo. Like my younger sister would say, that they speak, not me, I'm better than them. They speak the revised version of Ijo. That's her own word.
Okay.
You know, but at least it's better than nothing.
Let me ask, like one who is not knowledgeable enough, a typical parent.
Yes.
What's the harm in having them speak English? I mean, that's what the whole world speak. These guys have, I mean, they have successfully done it in a way that even in Russia, the people in Russia, they speak English too.
Yeah.
So what's the harm? Let's speak English, but like the Ijo people too.
If you keep speaking the English, you're going to lose your language. Imagine you coming back in 50 years' time and there's no Ijo language, and you know you're an Ijo man.
You can't even tell someone that actually I'm Ijo?
Yes, and they'll be like, Ijo, what's Ijo? What tribe
Ijo?
is that? God forbid that happens.
And the language is a pretty critical element of the culture.
The culture. You know, so we should encourage our children. My kids are still speaking the revised version. In fact, they haven't even gotten to the revised standard version yet. But they are trying. I remember my husband who couldn't speak Ijo before. Now he's beginning to speak. His dialect is Cabo dialect, right? Which is Patani. But because I speak the main dialect, because I'm from Bomandi local government in Delta State, so I speak the main. The one you people down here call Tamo, right? The Keremo axis, they speak like my dialect.
I really don't know the distinctions,
Yeah,
but I'm pretty much learning, yeah. The main and the Cabo dialects
Yes,
of the Ijo.
there's a big difference. Like my son's name is Onyita Enado. That's Cabo. If he's to come to my side, it will be Tamara Tainane or Tamara Tainade. You know, but because they are from Cabo, it's Tainado. Somebody was it you that was asking me? Yes, my son's name.
Okay, yeah.
Tainado. Yes.
The other, yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Barrister Brenda. I'm tempted to make an attempt, but I don't want to offend you.
Try. I would like to hear you say that. Try.
Oyakame Benafa.
Good try, yeah.
Good try. Oh my
Oyakame
goodness,
Benafa.
I offended her already.
Oyakame Benafa.
Please say it.
Oyakame Benafa.
Oyakame Benafa.
Yes. Oyakame Benafa.
That should stick. Thank you so much.
If you can't pronounce it, I get really angry. So stick to the Brenda. I'll take that.
You have been doing Brenda all day,
Yes.
but Brenda is not exactly Jordan, so I
No,
try.
It's not. It's English to make
It's
it
English,
easier,
so I
yes.
try as much as possible to do native names.
Yes,
my
I
work
prefer-
also, so I learn more of it.
You tried
It's hard to.
yes.
Maybe it's because I've also been trying to do it all
that's good.
my career, maybe. Well, it's a good thing that you joined us today on Chat with Naija Live Television. Before we let you go, we'll have you do a message to Bielson's parents on the special needs children that they might have and not know it, and also on the preservation of our culture.
Okay, on the special needs, I want all of us to look at it as building a house, because we're talking about the parents, the role of the family, school, government, and community, right? Look at it as you're building a house. The family is the foundation, all right? The school is the building blocks, all right? The government makes the policies, they bring the resources, the community creates the roof. So imagine if we take out any of this group, you see that the house is going to be shaking. The house is not, before you know, the foundation will collapse. All right, so I will encourage everyone, the government, parents, schools, all hands to be on deck to help these children. And if you're a parent out there and you have a child with special needs, please do not hide that child. Come out, seek help. Go to FMC. We have very good doctors there who can help you, you know, diagnose your child. All right, and they can refer you to my center and to the other places that are available. All right, don't keep your child. Encourage your child to learn, because if you keep your child, you're delaying it. Right? I know that we believe in God, faith works, yes, But if you're keeping your child at home, that's you not putting your faith to practice. So I will encourage you to seek help. That's the first healing for your child. Okay? And for the Ijaw language, I would encourage, please try and speak the Ijaw to keep the Ijaw. All right? So that tomorrow, one person somewhere is not going to come and ask us, you claim to be Ijaw. Where is your language? Do you know how to speak it? Are you not the only one speaking your language? Please, let's try and speak it. Okay? It might not be very good, but try. Practice makes perfect.
Yes.
Okay? Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming in today. Barrister Oyakeme Benafa, Brenda
Good job.
Naberi, the founder and chief executive officer of Brandon Educational Consult Limited. My name is Henry Hamwifla. See you on the next episode. Bye for now. To you, thank you plenty for joining us on Chat with Naija Live Television. My name is Henry Hamwifla. I have Israel with me. And today we're discussing something important for us as a society. We're discussing peace in Bayelsa State. We're joined by the leader of an organization that seeks to entrench this, that seeks to, midwife ways at which we can have sustainable peace in Bayelsa State. Now, not just peace, but sustainable peace in Bayelsa State, with a focus on the Bayelsa State peace architecture. We're joined on this edition by Dr. Priye and Nabaraton. It's good to have you join us, please. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a long time that you have been hiding. Thank God that I finally.
Okay, that's
But once
clearly.
again, thank you, Bayelsans, for this opportunity. I'm very grateful. I hope we have a good say on this journey.
Absolutely. Bayelsa State Peace Architecture. You want to scale this for us? What's your mandate like? Is it you're a new organization? Have you been existing for a while? Would you want to talk to us about that, please?
Well, the Bayelsa State Peace Architecture is a coalition of interested persons that are interested in peace building in Bayelsa. Before now, we have different approaches towards peace building. That the police will do their own, civil society organizations will do their own, individuals that are interested in peace will intervene. And this project brings on board every interested persons, using the community leaders, using the local government leaders to the states. And the Bayelsa State Peace Architecture is made up from all these persons, this coalition of persons coming together. We have the NDLA, civil society group, the police, the military when intervention arises, and every youth organization, everybody that is interested in peace building. So I think that is key in one of our achievements that we have been able to put this persons. So when we are talking about SPA, otherwise called the Bayelsa State Peace Architecture, it's not hidden, it is not far-fetched. It is interested persons that have been involved in peace building, and we thank God for what the European Union did. Before now, we were operating on our own. It was put together by the European Union in 2023, and the project was meant to cover rivers and also Bayelsa and Delta. The reason for it was because conflict in this Niger Delta, if it affects Delta, it also affects Bayelsa. If it affects Bayelsa, it also affects the river. So to look at an holistic form to see how we can solve the issues around conflict. So the key players that have been involved over time, we decided to come together to get these lessons from the state and move towards the Niger Delta region. So that is where we are, that we have the state peace architecture.
Okay, you have the police, you have the NDLEA, and
all other security
agencies
and non-security actors.
as part of your
Even
organization.
traditional rulers,
So,
even state governments.
so what is it like in your meeting? What is it? What do you do particularly at SPA?
Okay, well, the state peace architecture is interested in non-kinetic approach towards peace building. So we do mediation, we do prevention, we do dialogue, we do community engagement. And these tenets are what makes up the principles guiding the state peace architecture. Over the years, you see that as little as a conflict between husband and wife, if you don't nib it on the board, you would be surprised about how that conflict will escalate. Maybe a husband kills a wife. You are looking at it that is marital conflict, but it is not. The next person will say, this one is from my community. You kill my community woman. So before you know, community fight and community fight. Before you know, the soldiers will be called to go and quell the situation. Before you know, National Defense Council will sit on that little as husband and wife fight. So we are looking at best ways of preventing such conflict. As little as youth president conflict, that two persons are fighting to be youth president in that little community. If you don't nib it on the board, you will see it escalate to cult group fighting. As little as drug is being sold in the community that triggers conflict and all that. What do we do to curb such stress? So over the years, the SPA Bayelsa State has been able to champion this cause. So we have been able to look at the early drivers of conflict and also see how we can prevent them. So these are what the SPA has been doing. I receive calls, up to 10 calls every day. We have a tracking system, we otherwise call the early warning and early response system, that is laid across all the local government. If there is any conflict, for instance, as I'm here, I can tell you the trend of conflict. Let me start from the Ogbembiri issue. From the Ogbembiri issue, we have the purported bandit issue in Polako, that they said bandits are taking over Polako, Bahrain axis, that people run and all that. Immediately those information came, we analyzed it and we resolved that it was false from our dashboard and all that. So I was the one that called the commissioner of police to send him a message that, look, this is what is happening there, and he moved in immediately with his intelligence and all that. So there are a lot of things that the SPA do. We do them over time on the ground. We don't speak out. We don't do all that. But there is a need for us to also sensitize members of the public on embracing sustainable peace. No doubt, due to our activities over the years, you see that Bayelsa is being described as the most peaceful state. I can give you the indices from the National Bureau of Statistics. Now, National Bureau of Statistics cannot tell you that you are the most peaceful. They work with indices. First, the security of lives and property. What is the record? Can you compare it to Delta, that has pipeline surveillance issues that are going on, that has delimitation issues that are... I'm just giving you a clear example. That's Delta. Can you compare it to River State that has a governor and the other one, Yendeba crisis in River State? So if you look at this, I'm talking about the Naija Delta, just the Naija Delta. You're talking about the Ondo State crisis of conflict for resource mobilization. So if you look at all these indices, you see that Bayelsa is having the list of crime, kidnapping, you see drug, you see this, you see that, all the indices. When, as an individual, are you safe to come out in the night by 12 o'clock? If you ask me, it's yes.
Well, these things you've mentioned, that this is a function of SPA's relentless effort. So it's in fact what the governor was. I'm asking a question actually. I'm not taking a stance. I'm asking if they are a function of SPA's relentless effort. So if they are rather because of the governor's disposition, to matters of conflict and the way he typically would go in to resolve them, and some of the mechanisms he set in place. Is he the SPA? Does he have his input?
Well, the Bayelsa State Peace Architecture, like I said, is made up of even government officials. We don't operate alone. We have done the coalition to the point that Ministry of Youth, Ministry of Community Development, we have SAG's office, we have different strata cutting across all boards that are interested in the peace building process. So I cannot say that we are categorically sponsored by the state government. No, we are not. We are individuals that are interested in peace, driven by commitment and passion to change the narrative. Henry, I tell you clearly that rather than for us to continue complaining, we need to take our destiny in our hands. We need to take our peace destiny in our hands. And that is the effort that you are seeing today.
Let's go deeper.
Yeah.
Right? If we're talking about sustainable development,
Sustainable peace.
yeah. Are we currently on the precipice of trying to achieve that? Could we say so? What is the winning strategy of, for instance, the governor of Bayelsa State that's, sustaining peace? What is the strategy you think he's been implemented that's making for we to have peace?
Okay, well, first, I'm not a government spokesman, so that
just as an analysis.
If
you look, because you're a stakeholder in the peace building.
That assignment, I will answer it, but I will compare it to that of River State, for instance. So you asked me.
No, I'm not talking about relatively peaceful now. I'm only saying I'm a state that is relatively peaceful. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying what the governor is doing, that you think that it's the winning strategy for security. So maybe the next governor will also know that that's something I want to do.
Yeah, okay. So first thing, we know that Bayelsa needs development. And the best way for you to tackle security and peace is by providing development. Any government that lacks that, you are already on the pathway of insecurity. I don't think that development that is happening in Bayelsa happens in states like Iraq, states like Afghanistan. I don't think, because it's presumably trouble zone. But immediately you carry cement and want to do something, your enemy will come and strike and scatter it. So if you are on the trajectory of building sustainable peace, you must think about development. And development comes with economic power. Without economic power, whatever you do is only a man that has fed himself that can think of resolving himself out from conflict. Conflict itself is from different strata, and if you don't look at the economic well-being of the people, it becomes a problem.
You mentioned
economic
development,
and economic and social status and disposition of the governor. You can see there are a lot of issues that ordinarily person will pick up and say, go knock them, go show them shege, go knock. Sometimes we wonder on those things.
If we want to discuss security and insecurity, what are the things that are likely to cause insecurity in Bayelsa? Some would mention militancy, right? Others would mention bunkery.
Let me mention those things.
Okay, militancy, bunkery.
No.
Mention now.
Bayelsa, we have grown beyond the issues about causes of conflicts. You know why? Conflict arises every day.
No, beyond conflict, insecurity.
Yeah, insecurity. You look at issues around resource mobilization and distribution.
Resource control?
Yes, resource control. Not the general resource, 13%. Among two brothers, there is resource control struggle.
Okay. Yeah.
You look at, that is where the issues about Tantita, security management, who does this, who does that.
That's where you mentioned the Delta State crisis.
So you see, among two brothers, there is resource control struggle.
As it applies to Bayelsa.
Yes, I'm bringing it down so that we can apply it. Now again, the issues around environmental justice is a problem that I was ordinarily a farmer and I cannot go to my river, to my farmland to fish, to do this, to do that. You are depriving me of my, so I will respond. And if I respond, if you push me to the wall, you can't come and dictate the form in which I will come back. So I can come back with AK-47 to tell you. I can come back with dynamite to tell the river that I need to test it, since I know that you will pass. So if you tackle that issue about environmental justice and the realities of the environment, you have tackled a lot about it. Another driver of insecurity that we can look at clearly is issues around social vices. When we say social vices, as small as drugs, there are a lot of issues. Somebody can just take a little drug, tramadol, and you will see that reaction above board. And the result will be him carrying machete to stab somebody, him planning it. And if you look at this drug issue, you want to sponsor that lifestyle. Let's kidnap a judge. Let's kidnap. I'm telling you this so that you are seeing this when I'm telling. If I'm talking with facts and data. The drivers of this issue you see them the end point being involved in crime. So if you curb the issues around social environment, the issues around social justice and equity, if you curb the issues around environmental justice, if you provide a base, a financial base, a revolving financial base, you will see that somebody that has something to do and something, all those trends. So by the time you do all that, you are rather looking at the drivers of insecurity. So for me, over time, I like using the subject, looking at the solution to solve the problem. So
from what you've mentioned now, you still did not add including militancy, and not active militancy, but
era has passed.
Militancy era has passed,
Yes.
but we are not removing from the equation that there are people who many believe are active, in gun carrying.
No, gun carrying is not militancy.
And when I say gun carrying, we're not talking about
militancy.
the basic gun carrying, like
No.
the type you'd see they used to go for basic armed robbery. No, that's not the gun
That's
carrying.
not militancy.
We're talking about people who are heavily armed
That's
and who
not
are
militancy.
situated in communities, people who they believe that they are the ones who would largely sometimes determine the electoral outcome in their domains. I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah.
Militancy is there. You mentioned drug abuse. Now, drug abuse is not something that we've eradicated. I mean, if you ask some persons, they might not tell you that they have seen any visible thing that the governor is doing. Maybe you tell us what your organization is doing in the aspect of drug abuse. And
I'll tell you.
also, you talked about resource allocation and distribution.
Yeah.
And I like to think that's around community crisis. That's what causes community crisis. And we've seen a number of them lately. Are there certain things that your organization or you have seen the government they are doing around resolving, or before it even happens, before such allocation disputes happen, people settle it amicably? I mean,
Okay, clearly we, as the Bayelsa State Peace Architecture, I make bold to say we have intervened in 1,321 cases in a period of 30 months from the inception of this project. Now, some of our cases that we have handled, for instance, you said I should make references to it. Issues around the Barai Ayakiri issue is a community chieftaincy recognition issue that the king refused to recognize a particular community that had court judgment to be recognized as a community in Barai. And it got to a point where this community wanted to cause roadblock, to go and destroy, make protests to oil facilities and all that before we were informed about it. We intervened. We called both parties around and we discussed. And we informed them on the need to use dialogue as the tool. What is your problem? What is your challenge? And it turned out to be an ego thing. So eventually that was resolved and made it. But beyond that, there are a lot of challenges. As we speak now, we are tracking the Ogbemburi issue. We are tracking the Ogbemburi issue that has led to a chief to be in a questionable character that the state government has said, step aside, let's see, let's do investigation and all that. All those issues. We have issues in Otosega. We have chieftaincy issues, communal dispute, information. So one of the things that has aided all this is information sharing that we got from our early warning and early response mechanism. Like I said, it is spreading across all the communities. In every community, we have those that shares those information to us discreetly. We have a platform that you can report your rising trend of conflict that we can also handle. Now,
there's a platform like that?
yes,
On WhatsApp?
yes, no, not on WhatsApp. It's a tracker, Bayelsa State Conflict Tracker. So if you have that challenge in your area that you notice, you report. We have trained over 500 persons
Is that through a link? I'm just trying to get, so people who will watch this will be...
You can't join the link just like that. You must be trained. You know why? So that we can also regulate false information as well. That was why when the Polak incident happened, that they would tell you that, look, oh, this incident is happening but it's false. But however, we need to monitor it.
The platform is people who are your members. They are the ones on the platform.
Yes.
They are the ones who could share information to you.
Yes.
So your network cuts across
all the
local government areas.
Yes, it does.
Is it beyond Bayelsa State? You had mentioned that.
No. Now in Bayelsa, we have the Bayelsa State Peace Architecture. Is also working with PIN Foundation. PIN Foundation is interested in peace in the Niger Delta. So there are circumstances and issues that are beyond Bayelsa. But again, you need to monitor it closely, because whatever happens in Delta, before you go to confront that, before you know, you see everybody, those that are perpetrating crime moving to Bayelsa. You see them from Bayelsa moving to River. So the trackers help us to track all those issues. So over the years, we have been able to resolve a lot of community crises, a lot of chieftaincy tussle, a lot of village setting crises, resource mobilization, resource control crisis within the community, security rising to insecurity. Rather than for military to intervene, we intervene to solve a lot of problems. And we advocate for the alternative dispute resolution mechanism, ADRO mechanism. That has aided us to also solve a lot of problems. For the purpose of the media and all that, we can't come out to say this one, because most of them are still peace building process. In peace building, you cannot come and give out your decisions outside, because by the time you do that, you don't know where the trigger is coming from. It can be reignited and it causes more problem for you. So we have done this so far to this point, sir.
Okay.
From what I'm getting from you, I want to believe that you get people from the host communities and you train them.
Yeah.
Such that they can use that
the early warning
platform.
Yeah.
Where do you source your way to motivate these people? Because they would need some kind of motivation, especially to track these things as they happen, before they happen. From what you're saying, I'm getting it that you're a bit more proactive than the standard now. How do you motivate your people? Where do you get your finance to motivate them?
Okay, like I said before now, I was also dragged into the system like every other person because I'm interested in peace building. We were sponsored by the European Union, anchored by a program, curbing criminality and crime in the Niger Delta. And Search for Common Ground as a team was able to bring all of us together. We have Search for Common Ground, we have the PIN, and we have SDN as stakeholders. So in these various communities that they deploy these persons, people that are interested in peace building, there are people naturally, this problem, I really want to solve them. How can we continue to...
So the European Union funds you?
Yes, they funded, but where I'm going is that funding stopped in April 2026.
Okay.
Yes, this year, that funding has stopped. But before they left, just like the coming of the Holy Spirit and God has said, before I go, I leave my Holy Spirit with. So the Holy Spirit with us has been those persons that are on ground that have been trained severally.
Okay.
So those persons have been, they are still working with us. You don't need funding again. They have already been trained on peace building. They have already been trained on mediation. They have already been trained on intervention. And again, we also have the traditional rulers, the youth president, CDCs, cutting across all these local governments. So if we have a conflict in a particular place, we can quickly call the persons involved and say, look, this is our challenge. This is the report we are getting from the grassroots. What we do is every conflict emanates from a community, true or false. You can map it out to a community. So if the community has their method to solve that problem, it's better that you encourage them before they take arm and other things to solve that problem. So what we do is we encourage community-based peace process.
Okay, well, Dr. Enebratompo, you clearly have stated that you have a funding challenge.
Yeah.
Given that the European Union has stopped funding you, are you making plans to get another active partner who's funding your organization? Because you mentioned that people who are trained would not need money, but I like to think that they would need money at some point. If they don't need money, more trainings you would do, because you need more hands on deck, right? They would typically need money. So are you making such plans? Have you approached the government of Bayelsa State? You're operating within Bayelsa State. The peace that you are engendering is something the government also enjoys. Beyond the government, the Naija Delta Development Commission, the peace you are engendering also, they enjoy it, right? So are you making plans to reach out to these organizations?
Okay, first, in April 2026 this year, the Bayelsa State SPA was adjourned as the best in Nigeria.
By who?
By the European Union and Search for Common Ground and other funders.
So they didn't leave on the grass on the basis that they had grouses or issues?
No.
They left because they did not have funds to continue.
No. Not every project has a timeline.
Okay.
So
it was
we are not. Yes, it was on that basis, but we are also optimistic that they will also still come back.
So,
but
they think that the project is ended, but you are continuing with it.
No, they did not think the project has ended. The setting up of the project was for it to last. That the end point will be community leaders championing the peace process.
Okay.
So it wasn't built on a.
So it's no longer a project now.
Yes, it's not. It wasn't built on a European Union funded kind of that will stay for a long time. The independence has to continue. That the ownership need to be local, because we are talking about peace is local. Then how can you fund something from foreign? Now let me quickly clear you on this, that before the European Union left, the Bayelsa State Peace Architecture has drafted a 21-page bill titled the Bayelsa State Community Peace Bill. That bill is ready, and you will see that. You see the bill.
A bill for law for establishment
is 21
of the Community Peace Commission,
and it was a coalition of senior peace stakeholders led by a former senator, Senator Nimi Baria Amange, that have put up this. If you go to the last page, you will see the names there. They are not mean names in peace building in Bayelsa.
Okay.
So this bill was presented to the deputy governor formally, that we want a situation whereby we build bridges for sustainable peace in Bayelsa. So if we want to build a sustainable peace process, we need to institutionalize the peace process in Bayelsa. And the Bayelsa State Community Peace Commission will step in from where the European Union, Search for Common Ground and other funders have stopped. So they are stepping in. But before that time, we have also moved ahead to domicile this whole structure with the Ministry of Community Development. We have a running office in that ministry now. The ministry has furnished. The ministry has furnished the office. We have an office complex that we use to track this company. So the Bayelsa State buy-in is already there. That we have the Ministry of Community Development anchoring this peace process, because there is no development without peace. So we are looking forward to a point where the state government will call partners together, will also formally present this bill to the House to commence the bill process. But for now that has not been done, we are working with the Ministry of Community Development to anchor this entire process. So for us, we are on a good state. Recently, we also visited the local content, Nigeria Content Development Act, and they also reiterated their support for this, because they look at our trajectory, what we have been doing over time, and also the projection of peace in Naija Delta, using Bayelsa as a springboard. So they are also in support of it. We intend to also meet the NDDC, Tantita, and other organizations that will look we look at that we can partner in terms of sustainable peace building. Okay. And if these persons come, it's our hope that Bayelsa will be better off for it.
Okay. One of the major challenges we have of insecurity would be that revolves around cultism and drug. We've mentioned drug already. We've not tackled cultism. being one who chairs the Bayelsa State.
Not chair, secretary.
You're the secretary of the organization, Bayelsa State Peace Architecture.
Yeah.
Okay. Being one who is one of the leaders of the Bayelsa State Peace Architecture, you also must know that cultism is a problem, and it seems as though we are not tackling it as we ought to tackle it. It feels as though it's a problem that festers on. Recently, we had stories of cultists who was arrested and he was handed over to the police, reprimanded by the Bayelsa State security volunteers, well, handed over to the police. But there was this concern people have that even after he's been handed over to the police, you see him back into the society. Like, they cannot follow through on prosecution and remand this person, even while there is good evidence that he's robbed many persons, and also he was caught with a gun. How are we going to navigate past this? How are we going to ensure? How is the organization, going to navigate around this to ensure that those who have been caught for breaking the law and causing unrest, they are behind bars? They are put behind bars.
Well, you know that is a security issue. My focus over time has been on peace building. So I'll use the peace as a.
You build peace without security?
No. I'll use the peace as a yardstick to now solve that problem. Now, we also visited the Chief Judge of Bayelsa State, I think 2 weeks ago. Last week, we visited the Chief Judge to say, these are the indices we have been tracking. For instance, the issue that you raised, that people will commit crime and also be returned back to the streets. The basic thing is that Nigeria is rule governed. It's governed by a law. The law says you can't arrest person over and detain the person more than 24 hours, except otherwise there are certain exemption issues around arson, when the person has possession of firearms, all that. So the exemption are there. And if the person is committed towards bail, that court has granted that they should bail the person, nobody, you can't hold the person.
I get this impulse from what you're saying. I get this vibe that you are more into peace than the lack of justice that causes the lack of peace.
Okay. No.
Because sometimes, to a great extent, you can only have peace when the justice system is not totally broken. The example he just provided for you is that shows that no matter how you make peace here, without justice, the peace will just be not really anything. So what is your commitment to the justice end of the fact that peace will not happen without that process, without justice?
Okay, clearly, one, we need to also look at our laws. Most of our laws are not intended with the reality. So I was part of those that championed the ACJ law, domesticating the ACJ laws in Bayelsa. I was part of those that was involved in the VAB law. I was part of those that was involved in the gender response GRITs that led to GRIT, the child rights law. I was part of. So all these trends also support my background in peace building. Because if you see our laws, there is a need for us to look critically on our laws. They are not totally in tandem with the realities and the operation. You remember, it was only recently that the court granted that you can admit evidence through your gadgets, through your phones. Before now, it wasn't that. And the criminal justice system doesn't recognize all those things before now. But it was the ACJN law that brought all that opening doors. And so we as peace interested people that are interested in peace. It's not that we are also not looking at it. But going forward, the laws is the first thing. What do we do differently to strengthen our laws? We are also looking at educating members of the public, especially the traditional rulers, chiefs, and all that. Let's see how we can go back to our means of resolving conflict, because that is the only way out for insecurity. Before you know, if you recall, when somebody commits a crime of murder, they will tell the family to provide 3 persons, most preferably virgins, so that Henry maybe can marry one of that time and all that. Say, bring 3 virgins for us, for who you are. So if there is a problem, it is not your problem. The whole family go gather and say, oh boy, this is what they do. When you do until when it happen, not be my pikin go come carry you. So all that community processes of guiding individual work. But today we are seeing that completely eroded. That if something happens, we will now arrest the person and take the person to the court and tell the judge to pronounce judgment. And so we need to go back to those traditional methods of solving our conflict. We have our own model of solving conflict. Like I always say, the prison was not built for us. The prison was not built for us. We have situations on those days that if you do something, they will sentence you to the bad bush. And whatever happens to you there, maybe lions are there, different. If you survive it, you survive it. And so our traditional values, our laws need to also be rigid for us to see the present. So I think for us, we also do campaigns towards that direction. I understand your point that there is no way that we can preach peace without looking at the factor of insecurity. We cannot preach peace without looking at the drivers of
because behind lack of peace, usually there are perpetrators. And if there's no persecution for perpetrators, the peace is
useless.
It's useless. So usually, peace bodies like this tend to want to cause peace with the absence of the actions and persecution for the perpetrators. So.
No, our own is different. I make bold to tell you, you know of the Yenizwe camp. I think they call it Afghanistan. Yenizwe, the place that the
Barak.
The Hausa men were staying. That place was a drug center, and we were part of those that provided credible intelligence for the state governments to move in to crank that place. And now I make bold to tell you, our investigation is also revealing that they have crossed to the other side.
To which other side, please?
Outside the river.
Okay, across the river now.
Across the river now. There is syndicates that are operating. I'm just telling you because of to tell you.
It's the media, so it's
what we do.
Let's talk about security some more and talk about policing even. There are currently efforts to bring about state policing across Nigeria, and the bill is currently ongoing. It's really supported by the executive too, but there are fears from people that the state police will make for governors to abuse the powers that they will be given or granted. You clearly don't favor this argument. Do you not fear that there will be abuse of power, that the governors might use this as a means
and
to
I think this will resonate
fight the opposition?
This will resonate to you. We have fact sharing money every month, and it goes to the coffers of the government, headed by the state government. Is there any time that we are afraid that because the governor spend the money, that fact should suspend the money? It is not. It is not. So our view over the time is that state police, of course, is a challenge towards peace building. By that I mean there are issues of personal interest that will arise. It's natural. But how well are we going to navigate towards it and sustain peace? There are roles that the state police need to play. You cannot tell police that is 74,000 774 local government. You will take 74,000 police to police 774 local government. So if you do the estimate, we have less than one police to a community. It will not work. You can do the estimate.
Well, the reason we have the shortage is because there is paucity of funds, and the federal government are rather committing funds to other areas. And the federal government shares these funds through FAC to the states.
Yeah.
And the states also don't have enough funds. Bielsa might have quite considerable amount of advantage, better choice of word, to compare with other states that don't quite receive a lot at the end of the month. But even with Bielsa State, there is also a challenge of funds and where to place these funds. Do you see us in Bielsa State recruiting more police officers?
No, already. I think, and I thank the vision of the governor. The Bielsa State volunteer was already in place before now.
Bielsa State volunteer, are they not even understaffed?
No, they are.
They're understaffed?
They are, clearly.
Severely understaffed?
Yes, they are. We also have the Bielsa State vigilante
Understaffed.
that has moved towards the Bielsa State Community Safety Corps.
All?
Yes, that they have.
Incorporated?
So, if you look at this, I think they have over 1,000 staff that was employed that time that they were incorporated.
During the Bielsa State Safety Corps?
Yes,
right.
Safety Corps employment. They have over 1,000. The governor was supposed to employ 3,000, cutting across all the communities. But I think that was delayed a little to see that the Bielsa State, the state police team would be streamlined. But what I'm saying in essence is, all this effort, we are already on ground. And it is our belief that if the state police comes on stream, they will do employment, they will do engagement, they will do stakeholders mapping. And with all that, you will see people, our youth, joining the security force. It is clear, because ordinarily now, Dr. Priye, I'm not receiving salary for security. But am I not working? I'm not receiving
you're
salary.
passionate about...
Yes. I'm not receiving salary, but I'm working.
The IG
Yes.
answers to the president, because the president places the IG. He determines who's going to be IG.
Yeah.
And with state policing, the governor will have to determine who's going to be...
Not totally.
Not totally, though, but...
No, totally.
Not totally.
No, totally.
The way it is organized, to the best of my knowledge as I speak, is that the Police Service Commission will be the ones doing
Not
the
Police Service Commission. They are going to create Police Service Commission in the states. We are going to create State Police Service Commission, not federal.
So there are still gray areas
to
in
do
this
the
thing,
nomination.
Yes.
While the assembly...
Governor will ratify finally. That is how. So the way that you have Police Service Commission in the federal, that is how you are going to have that in the states.
Okay. Because this was an argument.
No. That's how you are going to have that in the state. I have seen the proposals. I have studied it. Because when the president did that, he passed it to the National Assembly. You remember the House of Reps has ratified it, saying we are okay with it, let's move it to the Senate. So it is at that stage. So I have studied that document. The way we have the federal police service, that is what we have in the state. So it is still the governor.
So police effectively leaves the exclusive list.
No. It's still the governor. But I made bold to tell you, we have the Commissioner for Finance, nominated by the governor. Is it that he's not doing his work as expected? He's still doing the job.
These examples you're giving are examples that they are doing the work for the development and for the regime. Now, the police is not supposed to serve the regime.
Okay.
It's serving the people.
Okay.
And when you are serving the people and you are picked by the regime, there's still this place where you have to serve the regime, and that's not the work of the police. Okay. And it makes the police very easy to let me give you an example. Now, the governor, for instance, is in APC. That's not an instance. In APC now, and because he controls the police at that time, he will control the police at that time. It's easy to say, withdraw police from the other party. Don't do this, don't do that, because the police answers to the state now. So using the police as a weapon for the regime is easier now, if we agree. How do we fight against that situation?
Okay, first, the state police law has not come. By that I mean it has not been domesticated. So if that law comes, these
yet
are
to be
the
passed even.
fears that we are going to
That are real fears.
Yes, these are real fears that we are going to look at. It is not because a man, you loses your semen that you will not give birth to a bouncing baby boy. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not because you will lose your semen that you will not give birth to a baby boy. You will lose it, and the child will also grow. As he's growing, you will see the different stages. You will see what to do. So for me, that, like I always say, let's look at the law first. Let the law come back to the states, and we'll see how we can domesticate it. We'll see how we can raise our voices towards it. And it is only that, and I know that the governor is a listening governor, that if we raise our voice, it's not for us to be on the fence. We are going to tell him clearly, look, these are things, especially in the process of recruiting, especially in the process of who leads the organization. Can that person track record be explored? Can we unveil these are the things that we so for me, I think when we get there, I think it will be better off for us.
Let's wrap up with you talking to us concerning the things you're doing to discourage these vices, the cultism and the drug abuse. What programs do you have in place?
Okay, clearly by January 2026 this year, between June, July last year to January, we decided to tour all universities across Bayelsa. Our message was simple: to look at the drivers of conflicts. There are a lot of security details, information that we have that this person say, I was high. Yeah. They arrest you, say you were high. Okay. Now that you are low, bring the person that did this. You say, they will start crying. Say, I was on drugs. Hey, you're on drugs. What do we do from here? You are on drugs, you went to stab this person. And now, say your eye don't clear. So what do? So beyond looking at those issues, we decided to take a campaign towards all tertiary institutions. And I make bold to tell you, and I'm reporting it back to you. When we went to NDU, it was part of our campaign on drugs that led to the arrest of a man in Amasuma that NDLA arrested the highest drug peddler in that community. So record, you can Google and you will see the highest drug peddler in NDLA. Within that period of that campaign, we laid intelligence, we laid surveillance, and we were able to do that. So our message is simple. Beginning from the tertiary institution, before you bring a student to the school, please test him on drugs. Before he graduates, you test him on drugs. So that within the period of him being in the university, if maybe peer group pressure and all that come, and you suspect, you take the child back to the testing point to test him before he can. So when you are graduating from school, you have a sane graduate. We have a lot.
Since
we
you're
have
testing
things that are happening in our university and tertiary institution. You cannot document them. We have a lot. So let's begin from having a sane graduate. And we took that campaign to various schools. NDU, I told you about the arrest. In Federal University of Tweke, they have decided to make a law that before you enter the university, you will be tested. And before you graduate from the school, you also be tested on drugs. As you are defending your project, you are doing your final clear, you also get tested.
You say these are as what they confirmed to you, that they decide to have that law?
No, the Senate, they have sat on that. I'm not in that university, I don't know but the update is that they are to give a takeoff point that, okay, from this intake, we are going to, but we did that advocacy, and the school brought it into the vision. So we have visited schools like that to discourage drug peddling and drug. That is on drugs. On cultism, we see a situation whereby issues around cultism is a problem in Bayelsa. We see it getting rise every day. And we are thinking of going back to visit the laws on cultism. In Delta, for instance, in Edo, for instance, you see the issues about death. That if any person is found wanting in cultism, in kidnapping, you are sentenced to death.
Governor Pebolo is strong.
Yes, Dr. Pebolo has Governor Pebolo has stated. So we think of how we can rejig some of those our laws, so that we can have not severe punishment, but what do we do differently to discourage that? Is advocacy. So we are using the grassroots to top approach to see how we can. I make bold to tell you that a lot of issues we have discouraged those calls. That when somebody is arrested as a result of cultism, they will call the governor and say, my child, your child. So what about the other person's child that was killed? What about the other person? So even those in the positions in government, we have taken that campaign to the SA poll and other key players on anything that has to do with insecurity. Please, there are limitations to it, because today it can be your time, tomorrow it can be your next. So we have been doing those campaigns.
We would like to thank you so much, Dr. Priye,
for
coming in and having this discuss with us today. Before we go, you've really spoken a lot. We had thought maybe we'll leave you and so you have a breather a little, but would you want to give your message to Bielsans, to youths, to people who could help engender the peace initiative and the peace campaign you're carrying across Bielsa State?
Okay, first, following the EU and Search for Common Ground model, we identify that peace, anyhow you talk, my brother, now person where you don't believe then you talk peace. Not be when hungry the cash person. Now you go come talk say make we dey peaceful. It doesn't work that way. We must identify the drivers of poverty. Poverty is a basic problem. And for me, from the indices we are having, every day is even getting worse. So how do we solve this problem? The Bielsa State Peace Architecture over time recommended that let's look at holistic means to solve this problem over time. And we have also done some community projects across Bielsa in 16 communities. Some communities, cassava processing plant furnished, and things are going on like that. Some communities decided that they want to train their individuals, their youth, on skill acquisitions, different ways. So over 1.5 billion was expended for that purpose. But let me come back to the nitty-gritty that we should not look at peace in isolation. Peace is a responsibility of all of us. Not just saying it, we should act peace. While we are acting peace, I make bold to tell you again, we have budget for insecurity. Is it not? Security votes. That's what it's called. We have budget for education. We have budget for development, community infrastructure. We have budget for health. Where is the peace budget? So
it's not part of security. It's not part of security.
No. It means that we are promoting these restings and neglecting the peace. So if a community is peaceful, if a community doesn't do violence, it means that you don't have a plan for them. What do you do to sustain peace in those communities? So you have to have a peace budget and peace fund. And that is why the Bielsa State Community Peace Commission, we are advocating for it to be established. It will cater for all this and also to address these issues across board.
Thank you so much, Dr. Enebraton Priye. You've really you've spoken a lot of wisdom too. I like to add that. Thank you for coming in on Chat with Naija Live TV. Dr. Enebraton Priye is the secretary of another organization that's fronting peace in Bielsa State. They call themselves the Bielsa State Peace Architecture. He is the secretary and coordinator of this very organization, and he's also the vice chairman of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, just to add that little bit there. Thank you again for coming in.
Thank you very much.
To discuss with us. My name is Henry Ahami. We'll now have had Israel with me on the program. Thank you. On the next one, bye-bye.
Oh wow. Action for peace.
Thank you.
For 1 week, our Yakura community in Ogbea local government area of Bayelsa State radiated the beauty of cultural heritage, festivity, and communal fellowship. Sons and daughters of a Yakura community and well-wishers united in love in remembrance and celebration of the brave compatriots who risked it all to safeguard their future. The festival is a story of community at the brink of being wiped off by flood and erosion, saved by visionary fathers who, with eyes on the future, courageously relocated it to the current settlement against imposing spiritual and other dangers. The Idulema performance recreated the historic migration to the new settlement.
Many people are here. This is the deathbed. We want to demonstrate the destruction and we cross the other side of it. The other community is known as Idulema. And that is the whole settlement. Because of the erosion, the community has erupted away. People are helpless, devastated, and our heroes at that time, the founding fathers, stood by us that we must have to pack from the opposite bank to a new settlement.
Thousands from far and near streamed to the community to enjoy a feast of rich socio-cultural rendezvous and celebration of the indomitable spirit of the visionary fathers. This year's festival was graced by the Bayelsa State Governor, Senator Doyediri, under the chairmanship of Obina Iyegwu, Chairman Kubana Group, popularly known as Obi Kubana, royal fathers, captains of industry, women groups and other notable figures, including the media. Traditional rites, war boots regatta, masquerades displayed and cultural troops robed in costumes modeled after historical characters danced through the streets in symbolism of the event.
So let it kind of sound like the name of our sons and guests. Let our children dress in their elegant attire as we celebrate our ancestors.
And the Ayakaro I see today is not the same Ayakaro that I came in 2022. Thanks to the managing director of the MD of the NDC, the chiefs of Ayakaro, the youths of Ayakaro, the women of Ayakaro for your support. And we are constructing the road from Akaba to Ogoni in Ogbea local government area. And that road, one of the benefiting communities will also be our Ayakaro. And again, I'm aware of the bridge that is also being constructed by NDC. And so you discover that for us, it is how we can connect our rural communities to one another and also to the state capital, Yenewa.
This festival is not only celebrating the crossing over of the community from the other side to this side, it's also celebrating peace and development of the people of Ayakuro. And also, we also encourage government at various levels to support this festival to make it an international level of festival.
And for you to hold a culture like this for the past 68 years, that means, it's a global standard. Looking around, you could see a lot of cultural troops. You could see a lot of beautiful women. You could see a lot of beautiful men, all dressed in their colorful attires, showcasing what this community is known with. Mostly fishing, mostly agricultural showcasing of their events. And the events like this are things that tend to bind communities together, that tend to bind people together, and I encourage it in every way.
Culture and modernity met when the traditional boat floats representing the 5 compounds of the community was festooned on land, celebrating their triumphant journey to the newfound land.
Royal Obey Festival calls for very serious celebrations, and it reminds us of our root. It is good to tell history, and that is why I even thank the Minister of Education for reverting the decision that there should be no history in schools. And what they are celebrating is not only a celebration, they are reminding us of our culture and promoting culture.
Without culture, there are no people. So this is a wonderful occasion, and I want to also thank the MD of the NDDC for also supporting his people, the Ayakro people.
There was also a feast of a side and traditional wrestling, celebrating heritage and marking a rite of passage for young men. At Nines, the festival transitioned into a vibrant party. Live concerts were framed, music filled the air, and the atmosphere was electric. Thousands jammed and erupted into wild ecstasy, dancing under the stars as Ijo High Life Music Minstrel, Barrister Smooth, and top secular artists to thrill with their stagecraft and melody. Week-long event climaxed with a Thanksgiving service at the St. Mark's Anglican Church, Ayakro, celebrating God's love for the community.
You always give in abundance. Therefore, we receive the abundance of the Lord in this community in the name of the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit.
Ebinimi Zitemiola, NTA News.
Hello there, jolly good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Chat with Naija Live Television, where we discuss important issues that will cause societal change with important personalities. And today we turn our attention to the environment, specifically matters of erosion. That's something we will typically complain about. You know, several communities in Bayelsa State, Obogoro, Dioma, a number of communities are rocked by this particular phenomenon. And sometimes we wonder what the causes are. Many would say that humans are part of the cause. We here in Bayelsa might be part of this cause, and a particular thing we do, certain things we do, could cause this problem. Narrowing down now, there is one particular matter that's been subject of controversy. It's been all over the social media, people frowning at government for deciding to take what many say is the bold step to place a ban on its mining. It's black sand. So we discuss black sand today and the consequences it has for our environment, I mean the mining of it. My name is Henry. Ifla had mentioned that this is Chat Naija Live Television, and today we have a renowned environmentalist. He is also the head of ECAD in I also said ECAD is the Environmental Conservation, Agriculture and Rural Development. He's also the technical advisor to the governor of Bayelsa State on environment. I mentioned a renowned environmentalist. He is Comrade Lagomero. It's good to have you. Comrade, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Aham, for having me here for the very first time, and thank you.
Made in appearance.
Yes,
you're
made
welcome,
in
sir.
appearance, and thank you for inviting me.
All right, sir, let's get right to it. Black sand. I think many persons, when you mention mining and mining of sand, they immediately come to terms with what that entails, but there is an angle to it now, or what has been added to it, black sand mining. What exactly is the difference between black sand mining and proper mining? At the end of the day, you mine sand, no? But what's the difference between black sand mining and mining. Let's understand what black sand mining is entirely.
All right, thank you very much. You know, in terms of natural resources, when you are taking natural resources from the environment, just like gold, earth materials, they all fall within mining. Even when you are drilling, extracting oil, they are all falling within the extractive industry. Yeah. The only difference with this black sand mining is that it is on top of this, you know, the soil, on top of the ground. You may not need to dig too far. You know that the Bayelsa State government had placed, you know, ban on the sand mining, sand dredging all around the state before the issue of black sand actually hit public space. And because of the indiscriminate sand dredging, which poses a danger to public property, private properties around our communities, the government deemed it fine to ensure that the mining of sand is regulated, especially when you talk about commercial mining, mining for building construction, road construction, and all of that is huge. And so unregulated mining at the end of the day will result into a situation whereby we begin to blame government. Where is the government? We will call government all sorts of names. You know, as an activist, I know the names we used to call government. Even irresponsible government ought to act like this, ought to act like that. And so, when black sand mining came into our lexicon, the government also sent out officials to go and investigate. They came back, they confirmed, and you know, before his demise, may he so rest in peace, the former deputy governor. Unfortunately, we are looking at it as a controversial issue. It ought not to be, because black sand is now found in our environment. There is need for us to ensure that it is properly not only regulated, but ensure that at the end of the day, it does not pose danger to our communities, our environment, and also revenue loss to government and also to the communities. That's why regulation is very important. And don't forget, Bayelsa State stands a very good ground to benefit from it if we want to go to that, because the state has the longest stretch on the Atlantic coastline, running from Brass local government area, southern Naija, and Ekirimo. No state in the Niger Delta has that type of stretch. It's only Bayelsa, and so we have a comparative advantage. And that's why, to properly regulate this, the governor has set up the machineries, relevant agencies, officers are working on it. Also considering the fact that recently there was a victory in the courts where the Lagos state government and the Bayelsa state government came out victorious against the federal government, trying to control everything about our marine ecosystem, waters. And the ruling was that anything on top, on the surface, belongs to the state. The state can control. And so we stand a better chance of
anything on the surface. Black sand is inclusive.
It definitely is on the surface.
It's on the surface?
Yes, on the surface. And when you talk about surface, you know, the petroleum industry talk about 6 feet below, anything 6 feet below.
Okay.
Okay. So this one is above 6 feet.
Above 6
anything
feet. Okay.
Above 6 feet.
Okay.
And the governor has also asked the relevant office to study the ruling and then come up with the necessary advice
Okay,
for the way forward.
You mentioned Southern Ijoe, Karimo, and Brass. This means that black sand can only be found around this area, and so the other local governments in Bayelsa need not concern themselves with the issue of whether there is black sand in their domain or not. Or can we, by chance, find black sand also in all these local governments?
Yes, by you may, because they talk about washing off, wearing off of rocks, and then the waves bringing them to land, to the shore.
Okay, that's exactly the black sand.
Yes, but then, like you did ask, we may find it in other local governments, because I read what Professor Adias, Teddy Adias, also scripted on it, and these are experts and researchers. He did mention about black sand in other local government, and talked about certain things. And if places like Ahoda is also talking about it, Port Harcourt is talking about it. I heard there is a factory in Ahoda dealing with black sand. So people have gone far with this, so we are just waking up, and I think we need to get it right.
But if we're discussing black sand mining, a ban on black sand mining, and we've already made a move, there are people who before now benefited from mining black sand who are now going to be unemployed as a result of this ban. Is it possible that the government will be making a move in their direction to help them with, because I mean, I don't know exactly what the government will be doing, because you can't exactly tell them to go learn a skill now, except maybe give them the enablement to open up a business or something. But is the government looking in that direction? Because unemployment breeds, what's it called now, theft and insecurity and all of those things. So maybe, so the government does not, in trying to solve one problem, cause another problem.
Yes, I think the government will not on its own go out to deny people chances of making a living, livelihood. The only thing is that an unregulated, the earlier you start with the regulation, the better. So the people who say they have been mining all those while they've been benefiting, let them also wait a little bit now for the system to be regulated. I know some are complaining, they go to logging, people say no. They go to coal fire, they say no. They come to sand mining, they say no. But we shouldn't forget that some countries do not have crude oil. They depend on their forest resources, and those places, they regulate these resources that they have. And Bayelsa State need to take positive advantage of this, new gold that we have found. If we hadn't named crude oil black gold, maybe it's this one that we would have mentioned, would have named black gold. Like lithium. Lithium is being mined in Kogi, Nasarawa, and some other place, Kaduna, like that. And it is called white gold because it is whitish. And they have their largest factory in the capital of Nasarawa State, Lafia. And the factory is there. It is working in the interest of both the investor and for the state. People who are working in that industry are also benefiting. So we are looking at a situation whereby the government, at the end of the day, will ensure that if investors are coming, after proper environmental impact assessment, to ensure that our environment is safe enough, then allow these people to operate within the state, manufacture whatever you want to, refine it here in the state, so that you give employment to our people, our teaming unemployed, youths, and other category of persons that are qualified. That way, it will be a win-win situation. The state will benefit, the communities will benefit, and those who are employed will also benefit with the investor. Mind you, we have been shouting on top of the roof about coastal erosion. And I, for one, I have not been satisfied, because I've been in the fore, calling on the federal government, the Ecological Fund, calling on NDDC, and even the state government, because Bayelsa State is most deltaic and suffers more of the, impacts when it comes to flooding, eroding our community waterfronts, riverbanks, then the waves eating up our communities on the coastline, right from, like you did mention, Ojiama, Congo, Sangana, Brass, Opoma, you go to up to, Foroba, Ekeni, Eze, to up to Bilabiri. And so, we have been shouting and we've not been seeing the type of response that we ought ordinarily to get. And should we now allow people to exacerbate or increase those things that we have been saying is affecting the communities?
Now, comrade, this is exactly the reason many persons are concerned. We know we struggle from coastal erosions. We struggle from erosion, quite all right. But is erosion the only reason government is deciding to place a ban on black sand mining? Put differently, is black sand mining the entire cause of erosion in our communities, in Odioma, Afropa, and all of the communities you mentioned? Can we point to black sand mining as the ultimate cost, as the only cost? Or if we were to rate the causes rather of black sand mining, would we, or rather erosion, would we put black sand mining at the top of it?
We should not walk that path of saying that we have been suffering from erosion since, like some people will say. I remember going to some coal fire sites and somebody was defending. All along they've not been cleaning the spill sites, they've been flaring gas, and so now that we've gotten where we will get our own living, we do it. We do our own coal fire. You see the excuse? So if others have been doing, if the government have not been, have not put off gas flare, it has not ended, and then they are not doing clean up, while we are shouting that they should do clean up, so you say you also add to that problem. That is not logical. The right thing to do is to prevent anything that will, encourage that type of undesirable situation or condition, environmental condition. Apart from that, don't forget, even the lithium that they are mining, like lead mining in Zamfara, we know how many people that died. Some years ago, a lot of people died because of lead poisoning. Even this Nasarawa where they are mining lithium, it is giving them some environmental problem, poisoning their source of drinking water. We know artisanal miners, even in the gold sector, even in Ghana, there was a time this Galamsey, they call it Galamsey, artisanal miners. But as we speak, I just came from Abuja on Thursday, West African countries, Nigeria, we all met, and some persons from Ghana, they were still telling us that because of the artisanal mining and even the real industries, most of their water, they cannot drink water again. Fishes are dying on their own. It's poisoning. Now, if you look at these essential minerals, because as we say, we are shifting away from fossil fuel, maybe we are going to the renewables. People are now discovering more very important minerals that will aid, in computer production, battery life. Most of the computer we use, the phone we use, and other, industrial use. People are going into debt. And that is why these minerals are all important. And as you go into mining them in large quantity, commercial quantity, and even maybe to the point of processing them, the byproducts may result in ways that will poison our people. And we'll leave this to the experts. When I read through what Professor Teddy Adias presented, he mentioned some of the hazards. I don't want to begin to on screen here, begin to read the script. Otherwise, in fact, I printed it out before coming, but I don't want to read on screen. We could just indulge you, if it's a minute, since you already printed it out. Okay. We could indulge you. It's best that we know of the consequences of this. Get to the part where it's a lengthy script, yeah. We all get to the part of the consequences and read it out, because for bioscience are watching, and it's important to get that knowledge out there, so people know that when they indulge, it's the consequences. Like here, he talked about radioactivity. Monazite is one of the elements you find in them. It's naturally radioactive. It contains thorium and uranium, which are naturally occurring radioactive materials. Research published in Science Reports has demonstrated that rutile, zircon, and monazite from black sand mining site carry radioactivity concentration that exceeds the average world safety limits for sand texture materials. Now you are talking about radioactive materials.
These are things that, like uranium is used for making Nuclear weapons.
Yes, nuclear weapon, aerospace, all those things, paint manufacturing, quite a lot are involved.
Now, there is you just read this, and then it occurred to me that there is just too many abundant resources the Niger Deltans have been blessed with, and this is yet another one, monazite, you mentioned, within which we have uranium, and this is something that many did not quite think Nigeria has or possesses. A lot of economic opportunities there. Is government looking to tap into it, or does it just stop at placing a ban? What's the next step? I'm asking because I know you are technical advisor to the governor.
Look at what he even made reference to the governor. He said, quoting the governor, we are already suffering from the challenges of oil and gas exploitation, environmental pollution, environmental degradation, and the loss of aquatic resources. We do not want a repeat of that experience through the unregulated mining of black sand. He quoted the governor. Now, the need for regulation is not to deny citizens or investors. The government also needs money, revenue, not only from oil, because oil is a finite resource.
Now, oil is regulated. Oil mining, extraction is regulated. Yet we see this much disaster it causes in the Niger Delta.
You see, the advantage of solid mineral mining is that this is solid mineral. The law between oil mining and solid mineral mining are different. The federal government's act on solid mineral 2007 indicates, and we know, that double standard in this mining sector. When the person who the investor has gotten license to come and operate in your environment, he has to go into agreement with the community on community development matters. The community will place their demand, and it's when they agree that the process will go on. It is not MOU as our people have been writing with oil companies. MOU are just like gentleman agreement that can be discarded at any time. And that's why sometimes we advise our communities, it should be agreement, not MOU. So the Solid Mineral Act stated categorically that it should be an agreement reached between the one who has gotten the license to go and mine with the community. So you see that there are opportunities for the communities too when the time comes. So government has to look into all of this, look at the Nigerian mining, solid mineral mining law. The state government will also look at where it can also come in that our people will benefit, the communities will benefit. So regulating is not bad. Even if your child today now wins billions of dollars, I think you should be able to advise the person, especially if the person doesn't have the capacity to think.
No, comrade, regulating is not bad.
Yes.
At all, it's not bad. Well, the problem now is we live in Nigeria, and I'm sure you also know that it's a country where many have said, and we have evidently seen, that anything can go when certain monetary promises exchange hands.
Yes.
The people who are involved in this, although the locals are involved, but many would say that it is even foreign interests. So they also have basic agreements with the locals who now allow them to go ahead with this mining. These are foreign interests that are ready to at any point do this and give to any other person who is supposed to be supervising them, and then they allow for mining to take place. The question I'm asking here is, in all of these, would we not still see mining that is going to be done without environmental impact assessment?
Very good. Before any investor will go to the field and start operating, the state government's policies will be expected to be adhered to, whereby the community component will be there. The government has said that it will not honor any agreement between communities and any such investor going behind. Now we have won. The state has won a case that anything on top belongs to the state. Nobody owns natural resources. Nobody is stopping you from going to the bush to go and cut your palm trees and do your palm oil. Nobody is stopping you from going to do your fishing and farming. But when you come to this mining and unregulated timber, logging, then a responsible government needs to do something. I empathize with our community people, because as an environmentalist, if anything happens and we don't speak, they say Alagwa don't look the other side, they don't chop money. I never chop money from any community. I never chop money. No community can accuse Alagwa Morris since I've been doing this work that I've get 1 penny from them, that they've sent me 200,000, 100,000, 50,000. I'm boldly saying it here. No community. So, if I look the other side, the highest thing they will say, stomach infrastructure. He has collected money. It's because he's in government, he doesn't want to say anything. No. Wherever I am, the community's environment interests should be protected. Then again, if it is not regulated, like most of the insecurity that is happening, the meeting I went to, the conference I went to in Abuja, all these things came out. Some of the insecurity issues that we are having is because of these mining issues. People are mining very seriously, fine, minerals in the north, Kogi and some other places, and they don't want people to come close. There are places where there are secret airstrips. The foreigners will come, they take and they go. And we don't want our own within our shorelines, so people to be armed with gun and then say, no, nobody comes here. And then maybe they turn the gun against even us, because some persons will come with ship from the Atlantic and then come and collect and go. So it is better we understand ourselves for the sake of peace and genuinely go about this mining when the window is open and when we know how to go about it. Allow the experts to also advise us that if you do like this, no problem. If you do like this, it will hurt our communities and us.
Okay.
Yes.
As it stands, the window is not open yet, so people cannot legitimately or legally put in to start mining.
Illegal. That's why it is called illegal.
And what I'm saying is the state government has not already finalized modalities as to one who is looking to go into the business properly, to go into the black sand mining business properly.
Yes, I think...
Or can anybody who's looking to mine now immediately approach the state government already and get authorization to do so?
The Commissioner for Commerce and Trade, I think he was on radio this morning saying that government is doing something about investors and the sand mining. I think they are working around the clock to ensure that the window is open as soon as possible and carrying the communities along. Communities should also organize. Sometimes it's not good to just stay far and cry. Organize yourself and come to the relevant office and ask questions. Okay. Why is this happening like this? Why is this thing happening? Government will tell you why things are going that way. Otherwise, this lack of communication will just be making things unpalatable for all of us.
The very week that the state government announced the ban
yes.
on black sand mining, pictures flooded the internet, Facebook particularly. I saw photos, I saw pictures, I beg your pardon, videos, right, of a naval carrier or something, escorting what seemed to be black sand. I'm sure you saw it too, the way you're smiling. I confirm that you saw it too. I also mentioned foreign interest, and these are people who typically engage these federal security operatives to, perpetuate these illegal mining. Beyond the ban that's being placed, is the state government setting up a task force that will be made up of security agencies as well, that will ensure that stuff of this nature does not happen, that we don't see a foreign interest using another security apparatus to move signs illegally mined? Is it possible? Has the government done anything in that regard? So it goes beyond talk. I know that they also, was it last year or 2 years back, when they started talking about indiscriminate logging of wood and felling of woods? At first it was just a talk until I think a task force was set for it. So there's been some sort of improvements now in that regard, But has the state government done anything of that nature? Are they still on the initial stages of black sand mining has to be a thing?
Talking about foreign investors or foreign interests, for now, I do not have that fact. But whatever be the case, there must be insiders. I saw that boat allegedly carrying black sand and being escorted by gunboats, and it goaded me to write make a statement on Facebook. That was in June. And also some persons were arrested. I was also one of those who pleaded that those persons arrested should be released. It's just happening now. They were looking for their daily bread.
They've also been released, I learned.
Yeah, so what is there is that there will always be insiders doing that. Trust Nigerian businessmen. Sometimes it's not even, some of those people doing that, and it's not poverty. We have the real cocoa guys that are suffering, that their own is a day, if they're able to load 50 bags and get their 1,000 naira per bag, they will dance, hallelujah. But there are some people who have fat bank accounts. They have hundreds of millions in their account. You can't call those people poor people now. Those are the type of people that are pushing this type of businesses, that will have the audacity to meet military men, meet their Oga Kwata Kwata, and then say, I want this, and then maybe the Oga Kwata Kwata will go ahead, say,
They do this also using the local people who they employ. So that employment, 10-20% for each miner would not be there. That's the ripple effect.
Yes, you cannot because of today. Remember tomorrow. You cannot because of today. The concept of sustainable development is that as you're operating, as you like this thing and you want to take it in a sustainable way, that the man that is the one that is still in the womb will also come and partake in that thing, not to just voraciously finish everything. Like those who will tell Pontius Pilate that let it happen, the punishment be on our children, because they want to kill Jesus. No, not like that. Say, let us finish it now. No. If you go to our environment, sometimes some people don't even see monkey anymore. But in those days while we are growing, but before you travel from Port Harcourt to Nembe and Brass, you see the monkeys come and they'll be playing by the bank of the river. Today you don't see them anymore. A lot of things have happened in our environment. So we should not act like the Israelites who say, crucify him and let the punishment be on our children. You now you should receive your punishment. Leave the other people coming to.
Well, it seems as though we were already receiving our consequences for the ones our parents did to us. So we should not be looking to do same to our children if we love them.
Yes, exactly. So let's pray that government's action will be swift enough, will move fast for us to ensure that we look at the pros and the cons, do environmental impact assessment, and ensure the safety of the environment within our communities. Then, with proper investors, they allow the ball to keep rolling.
Okay, well, as it stands, it's state government that's still doing the advocacy, and they've placed the ban, they're doing the advocacy. Do you see other stakeholders? What other stakeholders do you see trying to also engage the locals and help in promoting this message? And are they doing it, or have they all left it for the state government?
Right now, the situation is a bit tense and dicey. Any person who comes out and say, no dua, you are like an enemy.
To the people.
Because you see food that is ready, and the person wants to eat, you say,
no,
don't eat. So most people are looking at it from that angle. So it's few people like us who will say, in the interest of all of us, now so the team view, I support you, say you're supposed to eat that food. But allow them making cold first. We eat and now you get as you go do you. Many people don't want to be abused. They don't want to see themselves as sellout. They don't want to be called names. So people have not started going into it. But I think very soon people are going to, like where we were advocating for Bullfire to be licensed. And some of us started it early on radio, TV, newspaper, even right before former Deputy Governor retired Godwia John Jonah and SSG right in the government house here. Even JTF commander was here. We said it, advocated for it. That do proper feasibility study and allow these people to operate, grant them license. But the powers that be has not consented to that. So whatever I believe in, I will say it. Yeah, provided it is something which is sayable. Yes, but I won't advise people to go against the law. If the law says don't do, but there will always be people to disobey the law. And that's why we have the law enforcement agencies. That's why we have the penitentiaries, the prisons, the correctional centers. And if you say no, you won't agree, then.
Okay.
But I don't want people to go to that extent of say, I no go agree.
Now, talking about the law, it isn't quite stipulated what your fine would be, how whether you go to prison, what the prison imprisonment terms would look like. It isn't, because it has not gotten to the State Assembly, and the State Assembly has not done anything for it. Do you not think that this is something that the State Assembly should immediately move on and provide a legal framework? Even the issue of indiscriminate felling of woods, the State Assembly is yet to look into it as per way of legislation, and well, pretty soon they will be wrapping up their term in office.
This is another opportunity for me to use the opportunity to advocate for the forestry law that has passed through public hearing to see the light of day. Just as advocating for the Bayelsa Directorate for Flood and Erosion Control to have a legal backing. Now, just about a little about a year when Senator Doedri took up the mantle of leadership, he instructed the line ministries to come up with a holistic forestry law. And it's over 3 years, 4 years now, we've not seen that coming to light. And the forestry law is strictly, intricately tied to this very ban on forest products. So I believe it is still in the making, but the earlier it is passed, like you said, very soon now, people will go into campaigning seriously, and then there will be no time for passage of law. So, agreed. They will look at it from the point of law, but then don't forget, when the government say it has banned, executive orders are law, are to be respected. So when the government has passed that type of instruction to public and you disobey, they cannot look at any other law to say they will use that one to punish you. It depends on the discretion of the judges and the magistrates to say you have faulted the order of the state governor or the state government not to do this, and you have done this, so are you guilty or not guilty? You will answer all those questions, and if you are not so lucky in defending yourself, you go to Okaka. And the Nigerian solid mineral mining law is also there. Before you do, if you are doing artisanal mining without license, without authorization, you'll be, sanctioned. So I agree with you. That's why the governor has also asked the Attorney General to look at this, very critically and come up with advice for the government to, take action. And the Commissioner for Environment was also giving some some instruction, the marine and blue economy. Don't forget, they're also talking about establishing a body that will take care of the marine and blue economy, something on the coastline. Yes, so all those will pass through legislation, and I believe something is in the making. Before the bread comes out of the oven, it has to go through processes. Yes.
I'm also hopeful that before the bread comes out of the oven, that
you go through
the proper processes,
yes.
The proper processes are being done on it. Thank you so much, Comrade Elagomori, for really coming in to help scale these matters for us today. But the real question still stands. People who are already disengaged from this, what do you advise them? How do they continue with livelihood?
You see, before they banned motorcycle in Yenagua, during Silva's administration, I was one of those in the fore shouting that it should not be banned because it will take food away from those cyclists. But at the end of the day, they say bikes should not pass in front of government house. But when Seriaki Dixon came, they banned them. And rain will not fall. Keke is moving now, and then those people who have been going for amputation in the FMC, they are no longer getting people amputated. The complaint then was that people were getting their leg amputated.
Heaven no fall, but 88% of Bayelsans are living in multi-dimensional poverty.
Do you think myself, I have money? Do you think I have money? If
you're better than most persons.
Go and check my account.
Some persons are not eating as we speak now.
They are red. My account is red.
Your account is red.
Yes, my account is red. So
some people know their account too.
I am not within that rich line. I'm also within the poverty line. Yes, because even if my salary comes today, people who the pressure from people are there. Even today, how many people have reached out to me? I've lost my father-in-law. Please help me with whatever I can. This one want to do marriage. This one want to do naming ceremony. This one want to do like this. Somebody told me these 2 days that he puts his phone off So if you want to reach him, send him message. Anytime you on it and you see message, you read and then reply, put it off again. Because of the pressure. And if not for this pressure, I wonder what this society will look like. I agree with you. I wake up sometimes in the morning, I also think about my tomorrow. How will it be after this time? So don't see people like us who are talking, encouraging people to be somehow that it is better. No, I agree that the situation is really, really precarious in this country. There is no social security scheme. In some countries, once you get to a certain age, you will be getting social welfare. The unemployed are also taken care of in one way or the other. I know Bayelsa State, there was a time when during the Henry Seriaki Distance administration, even that of the Senator Doyetiri's administration, some persons were being paid from above 60 years in our communities, 10,000 per month or 5,000 per month, things like that are being paid. But all this needs to be legislated upon so that it's not like when the Pharaoh who knows Moses is no more, the other one come and then discard Joseph. Once it is legislated, any governor that comes, the policy is there. It's just to follow. It's a roadmap. So we need this in this society, even in this state, not only in this state, but in entire Nigeria, to lessen this burden.
We have a problem around this side of the world. We have laws, like you mentioned now, that it's just to legislate upon it, especially that allows for money to be sent or stipends to be sent
social
to
welfare.
the elderly, social welfare to the elderly at the end of the month. The next government could just come, and while it's a law, they decide not to vote so much resources, decide not to put anything inside of the budget. There is the Center for Youth Development. I believe there's a Center for Women Development. Go to the budget, you might likely just see 20-30 million naira there, and that's like overhead, nothing more, nothing added. So youth development or women development has nothing.
I agree with you. That's why I say I do not support political party. I support individuals. Doyediri is different from others. There was this pensioners not being paid here, and their pensioners were going on protest, and some were beaten. But immediately Doyediri came in. As a different person, he started clearing the backlog of pensioners' benefits. So it is the individual, even though they were of the same party. Yes. So look at what OT is doing in Abia. There was somebody before him, and today the Abians are singing his praise. So it is the individual, whether the laws are obeyed or not. Once the right person comes, we will ensure that the law is straightened. Yes, so it's better. Law is there to control our activities, put us in line, because without law, we'll go back to jungle life.
Okay, we get back to black sand as we finalize our discourse this afternoon. It has consequences that are dire for us.
Yes.
Black sand mining, illegal black sand mining has consequences that are dire for us. And I had asked earlier if it is not possible that while the black sand mining is ongoing, we still have people who would just pay money and choose to subvert the due process and still put us in the quagmire that we are afraid not to get into now, much like we see in the mining of crude oil and all of those. I'd ask that, but I'd like for you to speak to us on the consequences, so those who are watching, those who are listening would know not to go into this. The consequences of black sand mining, it's erosion, you've mentioned, but would like to stretch on this. There is already climate change that's disturbing us and causing flooding and repeated, flooding and erosion. But just broaden it.
Yeah, people are rushing into mining different types of mineral all over the world. And in most places, what causes problem is the mineral resources they have. Congo is an example. A typical example is Congo. Congo is very rich in different types of minerals. And that's why they have conflict.
They're always fighting.
Seriously, fighting each other to control those resources. Now we are saying that the world is moving away from petrol, related energy. They want to go into the renewables. How do you stay in the renewable world? You need some of these minerals that they are looking for now to ensure that we have long-lasting battery for our phones, for our computers, and then even for the solar energy power that we are enjoying, the street lights, those solar panels, they also need some of these minerals, to empower them, to store the energy. And to get this, if you are not careful, you will endanger your environment, not only from physical conflict where you see armed struggle, but you also physically injure your environment, like talking about this radioactivity and other, turbidity that will be affecting the water around that area. So, just like you talk about the food we eat, you have proteinous, you have carbohydrate food, and then the different foods, they all have different minerals, vitamins, and all of that. That is how this black sand contains different, elements that are important to the world, to different industries. Now, it is a natural resource, and government needs to come in to ensure that it is, mined in an appropriate way that will not be harmful and will not cause the type of conflict that we are hearing Sudan, Congo, and even right now in some parts of northern Nigeria. You see, let's continue to enjoy the peace we have. Yes, job loss here and there are there, but then we need to also look at the issue of a positive contribution to those who are doing real fishing and farming. They need to be encouraged. If there is an encouragement, like I used to monitor oil spill, some people will tell you that even when government is giving loan, it doesn't come to them. They go and borrow money from us, the cooperatives, buy engine, buy everything, and then they go to this ocean, and then oil spill will come and destroy all those, even destroy their engine. Or even sea pirates sometimes will attack them and take their fish and take their engine. So government needs to bridge that gap to ensure that you encourage, productive fishing, responsible fishing, and also farming. We need to encourage farming too, because a lot of people have run away from even farming. They won't farm, they'll be in the community in the daytime, smoking, drinking. In the night, they will go to people's farm and harvest dozens of plantain that they did not sow. So we need to go back to the drawing board, encourage our people to take to some other means of livelihood. Not only this quick one that as you load 100 bags, you get 100,000 naira. So you will be loading those bags with your shovel fast to get 100,000 naira a day. That's what they do in some of the areas. They load this black sand. Yes, fast money. Even fire, they say fast money. We should follow the natural way sometimes. This money we are pursuing. You will leave it and go. Let's live our natural life and breathe well, enjoy life rather than hurry. No, it's not good. We have lost quite a lot when you talk about living naturally. Everybody wants it now. No, it's not like that. So there is so much that needs to be done in going back to sensitize our people, talk to our people, not to always be showing films one kind. You are not telling the people that these people you are watching on Z-World, their people are also working in the farms. They are working in the poultry, the piggery, and the different types of agriculture that they have in their environment. We should show those documentaries. We should encourage people that in the dignity of labor, you get some kind of satisfaction. You see, so that gradually will bring back peace, genuine peace, not the one controlled by gun. Genuine peace to our environment. We should recognize the place of naturalness. You see, so people who want to do mining, when the time comes, they should work within the confines of the law. Definitely, some will, as we are speaking now, some will be doing it in the night. Some will be patrolling with their boats, loading and taking away only in the nights. Yes, and when they are caught, they are in problem. Just like people who are stealing crude oil. So that is the problem. We can't say these people are stealing black sand, but it's that they are going contrary to now. They are going contrary to the law. Yes, of saying don't do it. It's illegal. Yeah. So I want to use this opportunity to call on our community leaders. If they have any doubt in terms of information, they should approach the Ministry of Information. The commissioner is there. The office of the Commissioner for Environment is also there, and others. The Trade and Industry Commissioner is also there. Go there and get your information. Ask the necessary questions that you need to ask, so that government will also understand your position and then help government to arrive at certain decision that will be win-win for all.
I see a sense and reason in the government deciding to do a ban on illegal black sand mining, but I fear that we might not have the wherewithal, we might not know how to properly effect this ban and ensure that it is not done in the dark. For instance, in Nigeria, you're laughing, comment, but in Nigeria, we struggle with the problem of crude oil theft.
Yes.
It only it took the engagement of private security firms, Tantita and the one headed by Matthew Tonlaha, and that of the
pipeline infrastructure.
So it's because we engaged them, we're seeing a reduction in crude oil theft and an upsurge in the barrels we produce per day. Would the state not need to engage firms of this nature that are properly equipped, to be able to effectively tackle? Because I think there is more money in this over the logging of wood, I like to think. So it's technological something, so there's more money in it. So maybe the government needs to take a stronger approach to this than just a normal task force.
If government engages community leadership effectively, if government engages the community leadership from the youth presidency to the paramount ruler or clan head, the monarchs, I think it will be effective. Sometimes it's not always law and order. We should also practice equal rights and justice, not just law. And so when we talk to ourselves, people say big man talk to big man understand. If you are still doing it, you are doing it on your own. As a stranger, we find you in our community, what do you come for is for this? No, please, it is not allowed within our territory. That is possible with proper synergy with our community leadership, not excluding the youth leadership. The youth leadership needs to be carried along, because when they understand, and also instead of you to engage some other task force, that money that you use in engaging those task force, give it to the community leadership to do their own monitoring. It will help, rather than getting people from other communities to go to other places to go and monitor. Before you know, there will be shootouts. There will be shootouts. Even this profile that private security people try to stop, right from the time of Dallon Security, led by David Lyon. Yeah, used to be shootouts. You are going to stop some people, before you know, you hear gunshot from the other side. That's why they also go with security people sometimes. You see, so money, gather the community people, know their challenges, give them some money to do the, if you see something, say something for us. I think that would be better.
Okay, yeah, you're right on that. I couldn't agree more too. But I don't know, I want to say we have a problem again. Our environment, our environment is one that is delicate, really delicate. We've had several campaigns over the years to ensure that we have a better environment. We tell people, don't throw things in waterways. They need to hear that one. No. Plastic pollution affects us, it's cancerous.